You're listening to the Huddle Up Podcast with Chad Jensen and Zack Kelberman. Join Broncos Country's deep divers at milehighhuddle.com and sound off. And now it's time to drop some knowledge.
Okay, it has begun, but we got to let it breathe just for a quick moment while we bring on our Facebook community. Make sure we get all of MHH under one umbrella here as we kick off a very, very exciting night. Tons and tons of rumors and buzz just cranking out. But listen up. We are stoked to have you guys with us. It's a Huddle Up podcast night, but tonight it's more of a Mile High Huddle night. It's the NFL draft. It's the MHH War Room. We're calling it a draft hangout, a draft watch party. I'm your host, Chad Jensen. With me, my partner in crime on the Huddle Up podcast, Zack Kelberman. We're going to go through and introduce everybody here around the horn here, Zack. But real quick, starting with you, how are you tonight? What the Sam Hill is going to happen?
Oh, man. I didn't think we'd be talking about the possibility of Aaron Rodgers coming to Denver and almost being a done deal on draft night. Teddy Bridgewater one day or Aaron Rodgers the next. It's like, what simulation are we living through this year? But I'm excited, Chad, to see where they go and what they do with this pick. And it's finally here. It feels like Christmas morning right before you go downstairs and open your presents.
Also, we got Erick Trickel with us. Been with MHH since the very, very beginning. Eric, dude, could it be Aaron Rodgers, a Denver Bronco? I mean, we're hearing from Mark Schlereth right now. Deal for Rodgers as close to done as it can get. Dude.
It seems like it's a very real possibility that that's going to end up happening. I know that he wants to be in Denver. He wants to be closer to the West Coast. His fiance lives in Boulder. There's a lot linking him to Denver. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, but it's definitely a possibility.
We got Eric's partner in crime on the Dove Valley Deep Divers podcast, Lance Sanderson, in the hizzy. Lance, what's going on, bro? You feeling good about tonight?
Well, yeah, man, feeling great now that we've got the news of Aaron Rodgers potentially coming to Broncos country. That's going to be just great. First things first, guys. Mile high, hello, everybody in Broncos country. Welcome in. It's good to be doing this again. I had a lot of fun last year, so I'm stoked, man. Whether it's Rodgers potentially moving up for Justin Fields or whatever it could be. I mean, I'm very excited to see what's going to happen here.
It was, 2 years ago? We had you credentialed at the draft in New York,
yep.
And you were there when Drew Lock decided to take his ball and go home, go back to the hotel and all that. That was exciting stuff. I'm going to introduce this power duo together, Nick Kendell, Carl Dumler of Building the Broncos. Starting with you, Nick. What's going on, bro? How are you?
Hey, I'm doing pretty well. Happy to be here. Happy to be alive. It's been a long day, long week leading up to this point, but I do want to share the stage here with Carl. Everybody in the chat, wish Carl a happy birthday. I'm not going to give away his age, but man, happy birthday to Carl. Man, one of the nicest, most genuine, giving people that I know, and I'm happy to be here with all you guys, but Carl's number one in my heart. I'm sorry.
Carl, what a birthday present for you to have your birthday coincide with arguably your most anticipated day of the year, football-wise.
Yeah, so I woke up this morning, and one of the first things I did was message some of the guys and say, it's draft day. And my wife came in the room, and she goes, oh, happy birthday. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's today too. And so you see where my priorities are here today.
We definitely understand that. Nick's partner on the Mile High Insiders podcast, Luke Patterson, with us, back in the saddle. Luke, it's great to have you back. Dude, I mean, still, I'm like, my brain is still buffering with this sincere, plausible possibility of Aaron Rodgers landing in the Mile High City.
Yeah, I was joking with you guys before the show started. Aaron Rodgers is hijacked the NFL draft for 2021. Not sure if it's a payback move for his slide in 2003 or just I got to get out of Green Bay, but it's absolutely crazy. I'm pumped to be here. The up to the minute coverage is awesome. It's cool to interact with some of the other hosts, and it's awesome to be here, man.
It's great to have you back. And also we have with us Mr. Trevor Judge. Now, those of you who are the dedicated podcast listeners and watch each and every live stream, you're going, maybe you don't read as many of the articles. You're more into the video and podcast side. You might not know Trevor, but Trevor's been with MHH as an analyst now for, I don't know, Trevor, what's it been? At least 2 years, right? It's been at least 2 years.
Yeah, something like, a couple drafts. Yeah.
We wanted to get him involved in tonight's live stream watch party. How are you doing?
I am fantastic. I am just so ready to see what all these last few months of research and prospecting and everything is going to actually culminate on this night. And I'll tell you, to y'all's point, Aaron Rodgers is just dropping a bomb on the whole draft. So really excited to see what happens.
Indeed. It's going to be fun. Now, tonight, it really is. It's, we don't have some program rundown that we're going to be cramming down your throats. We're really going to be reacting to the very same things you guys are seeing in real time. And the draft, of course, set to kick off here in 15 minutes. And who knows, maybe we'll get some blockbuster news between now and then, or at least during the draft, we shall see. But the one thing that in the back of my mind, guys, if the Broncos do, of course, make that trade, you don't look the gift horse in the mouth if you're able to get a reigning MVP. First time it would have ever happened in league history that to see an reigning NFL MVP get traded. But nevertheless, you know that if he does get dealt to Denver, Zach, you're saying goodbye to that number 9 pick.
Yeah, but you're getting a future Hall of Fame quarterback, so that's a pretty fair trade if you want to consummate that. It's just wild to me. It's like, where did this rumor come out of? A couple days ago, the Packers GM said, we want Aaron to be here for the foreseeable future, and it seemed like the whole contract saga died down a little bit, and now he's one step out of Green Bay and one step toward Denver. It's wild how those things happen, but you know what? All things considered, I'd be happy with Aaron Rodgers more so than Deshaun Watson. I know that's kind of a fiery take, too.
I think it's happening, guys. I think it's about to go down here pretty soon. So I don't want to jump the gun, but
I want to ask the uncomfortable question: is anyone here not okay with this happening? I mean, it seems really weird. Here we are on the cusp of the draft, round 1. We all have our opinion of who the Broncos should select, and are we all comfortable with Aaron Rodgers? I know I am.
I'm pretty comfortable with Aaron Rodgers. The one thing that does kind of give me pause is just he's 37 years old, so it's kind of a short window time frame kind of a thing. That opens up. I mean, the Broncos would be the best team in the AFC West, and that's over the Kansas City Chiefs, over Buffalo, over Baltimore. I mean, if you put Aaron Rodgers on this roster, like, quite honestly, I love this roster. I think they're built to win right now, and a quarterback, they're a quarterback away. Well, you get a top 2 quarterback in the NFL and stick him onto this roster. That's an amazing thing, but it's like a 3-year window. So is it going to be leading into a quarterback purgatory, or the Broncos going to give up like 3 first-round picks for him, or what's the situation here? I can see the flip side of this coin where it might be more feasible and maybe more prudent to take a look into going and getting a Justin Fields or a Trey Lance. However, if it does happen, I'm all for it. Like, I definitely would accept this if it came down.
It's not a gift horse. You look in the mouth, right? Real quick, right. John, let's thank Christy and welcome Christy and everybody else. We are so grateful to have each and every one of you with us here tonight. Welcome. That's a shout out to Facebook. That's a shout out to Twitter. That's a shout out to Twitch and our great YouTube, hardcore dedicated YouTube community. Christy, we call her on our show, of course, the Queen of MHH, jumping in from the top rope with an extremely, extremely generous super chat, as she is wont to do from time to time. And here she is. Love you, Christy. Really appreciate you. She says, draft day with my boys. Zach, she's flexing hard for the community.
Christy is absolutely unbelievable, and I think everyone on this dais right here can echo that. She's been a tremendous support to all the podcasts, and that's why she's truly the queen of the entire network. When you were talking, though, about Aaron Rodgers, Chad, I had a question come to me I want to pose to everyone else. If they are on the verge of acquiring Aaron Rodgers, what was the motivation of picking up Bridgewater then?
Insurance. At the time, I don't think that they realized that Aaron Rodgers was going to be available. It didn't seem like it was headed to this thing. So they just went and got Bridgewater as insurance, as if they weren't able to get a quarterback for tonight, because they've wanted a vet quarterback to at least compete with Locke or mentor a rookie, one of the two. Rodgers just became available and it just started calling, and so it seems to be just that insurance.
Guys, this is crazy. Aaron Rodgers. All the momentum is Aaron Rodgers is coming to Denver, Nick.
I'm beside myself. Also, I want to get back. We're calling Christy the Queen of MHH, but she's gonna have to take that title from Eric first. No, I'm just kidding. Had to do it. Guys, we've been all different. A bunch of us different opinions about the quarterback situation here. But if there was one reality that we could all get behind, probably. People said, oh, what about Rodgers? Oh, yeah, pie in the sky. This may happen. This gained so much momentum over the last time. There's multiple people far more connected than me that are saying this is really about to go down. I think it's an interesting conversation here where you talk about these young rookies, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, the cost-controlled quarterback. But make no mistake about it, this Broncos team is a quarterback away from contending. I mean, the offensive weapons, they're young. This is a young offense, and it's ascending offensive line. The defense has no legitimate holes. I mean, people are talking about, the coverage linebacker or whatnot. You know what really helps with coverage linebacker issues? If you put up 40 points a game. So, I mean, for real, like, it's outscore them. So this really might be going down, guys. Today's been kind of a wild ride in general, kind of in disbelief, but I'm not even worried about the pick number 3 right now. Like, right, we're like Trey Lance, Mac Jones. What happens there depends on what happens to the Broncos, their ability to get a quarterback or trade down. If you get Aaron Rodgers, it doesn't matter. You're getting up right now. It's not like, oh, maybe 2022, 2023, you have that growing period for a rookie quarterback. Giddy up. We're going. Like, it's 2021. We're going for it.
I got to ask this question. Jay coming in here on the chat stream here, asking Carl here, can we get a monkey tail for Aaron Rodgers? Is that a thing too?
Yes. I will add him to the list. I didn't have him on the list because I didn't think this was ever in the realm of reality of Aaron Rodgers coming to the Denver Broncos. I mean, this is like a Madden move. And we always make fun of people who are like, oh, yeah, just trade for this player. That never happens. This is, I mean, like Chad said, this has never happened where a reigning MVP has been traded right after they had their MVP season. So just, I really am speechless right now of what to even think about this.
Dude, it's almost like, and let me throw this over to Trevor, and then I want to get Luke's thoughts too. Trevor, it's almost like, I mean, do you remember where you were when the news broke that indeed Peyton Manning had chosen to sign with the Denver Broncos? If that happens, I mean, it's almost more of if this happens with Rodgers, this almost feels like more of a unicorn tentpole event than even Peyton Manning, because, you know, at least he was a free agent, right? And you could kind of picture there was a competition to land him, man. It just kind of smacks of unreality.
Right. Yeah. And I'll tell you, I remember exactly where I was when that news broke. It was one of the biggest moments in Broncos history. I mean, the fact that Rodgers is 37, I mean, yeah, that is a concern, but, you know, he just came off an MVP season. I don't see any signs of him slowing down. And to the point about, trading for Teddy Bridgewater, it's insurance, but he's also a heck of a backup. If you bring in a 37-year-old quarterback and you have to go to your backup, do you want to go to Teddy Bridgewater or do you want to go to Drew Lock if he's still on the roster? So I think a lot of things play really well. I mean, you can't have too many good quarterbacks in the room. And I agree with y'all. Aaron Rodgers on this team on paper puts them up in the top tier of the entire league, not just in the AFC West or in the AFC. So if you're buying that window, even if it is a 3 or 4 year window, I think you have to do it, because the slow and steady approach that I think a lot of us have looked at and looking at these rookie quarterbacks and building this team up, which certainly is George Payton's approach, that's not going to put you ahead of the Kansas City Chiefs in the next 2 or 3 years, unless you happen to strike gold and you find your next Patrick Mahomes in this draft.
Luke, your thoughts?
Let's be honest. We can't afford the Raiders to get this cat either, right? Then the Broncos are looking at Pat Mahomes twice a year, Justin Herbert, and welcome Aaron Rodgers to Las Vegas. That would be absolutely terrible. George Payton, I don't know what he did to deserve this. Now, we could talk about his patience and everything like that, but the Teddy Bridgewater news, I think we all saw that coming. It was just a little bit of a surprise happening a day early before the first round of the draft. As far as Aaron Rodgers goes, I give up anything and everything to go after this cat. Now, it looks like 3-1s is the asking price, but are we expecting any starters to go with that? I know it's a rich price, but I would argue, maybe a Bradley Chubb has to go. If you're the Green Bay Packers, you got to start looking at maybe potentially one starter, maybe even two from the Broncos, in addition to those first round picks as well. So something to consider, but you still pull the trigger, you do the deal, and you get a quarterback, the reigning MVP in Aaron Rodgers.
That would be gnarly. Real quick, shout out to Simon up there north of the 49th parallel. Appreciate you, my friend. He says, what's up, MHH? The day is finally here. Quarterback, corner, linebacker, tackle, trade up, trade down, trade for Rodgers. We find out shortly. Time for Peyton to do this. Let's get it. Great content through all of this. Simon, appreciate you, my brother. And it's that level of support that we get from the great superstars in our community that allows us to continue bringing you this content, investing our creative energies into this type of content. So shout out to you, my friend. We really do appreciate you. And then I see one here also. Daniel, thank you for that super chat, my friend. Make sure you connect with us. And this is to everybody out there. Make sure you connect with us on Twitter. That's one place that it's really easy to keep the conversation going outside of these live streams. Daniel, you guys are awesome. He says, thanks so much for making the draft that much better. Really appreciate you. Really appreciate you, my friend. And tonight, Zach, I think it's going to be a pretty active night in the chat. Fans are pretty amped up.
I mean, especially now. I mean, the possibility or the probability of the Broncos landing Aaron Rodgers. I have another question to pose to you guys, though. Is there a limit where it's too much? I mean, Luke mentioned multiple first-round picks and 2 defensive starters. I mean, Chad, I saw you make a little groan there when he said that. Is there a limit to you guys as to how much you'd give up for Aaron Rodgers?
No.
You're going to want some draft picks to still hold on to, and you're going to want like a guy like Bradley Chubb still, because the window is now. It's not like Deshaun Watson where the window is over 10 years. You don't want to be giving your primary players away right now, but if 3 first-round picks and a second, maybe somebody like Deshaun Hamilton or I don't know, something like that, get it done. Because with Aaron Rodgers, with the way this roster is set up with Vic Fangio's defense to boot, this is a team that's going to be picking 26 to 32. Right? So like those first round picks, they drop off massive value the farther you get from one overall. So if you can give up first round picks and you know that you're going to be in this window of contention for the next few years, do it.
Well, let's be honest. The Packers have to be greedy with this, right? They can't necessarily, they don't hold all the cards necessarily, but they hold a pretty big card. If you're the Green Bay Packers, who do you want from the Denver Broncos? I can tell you Noah Fant's at the top of my list. That's definitely a rich giveaway. You're seeing Noah Fant become one of the most, I think, dynamic tight ends after having a rough start. And I put my foot in my mouth early. I called him a bust, and I've recanted that since. But I'd be comfortable with giving up like a Bradley Chubb, those 3 firsts, and Deshaun Hamilton. Sure, why not? Drew Lock. Let's go for it.
Man, thank you for that super chat, Vincent. I'll say this, as far as what I would give up, I'm okay if you can get Aaron Rodgers and it is 3 firsts, all right, and then that's the starting point. I mean, I think you just give up what you got to give up to get him here But where is that realm of reason? Eric, as a guy that has been doing this a long time and you've seen a lot of the precedents that have been set over the years, I mean, this would be an unprecedented type of move. But nevertheless, based on just, NFL precedent, what we've seen over the years, as Zach said, is there a bridge too far to get Aaron Rodgers in Denver?
I think there is a bridge too far to get him. I mean, he is 37 years old, and part of the issues in Green Bay is that even though he just signed an extension last year, he already wants a new deal. He wants to be the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. That's part of the problem. So yeah, there is a step that is too far. I'm not sure what that is because we've never seen a move like this before. I'm not sure if it is 3 firsts, Noah Fant and somebody else, or Bradley Chubb and somebody else. I don't know about that, but I would basically be willing to give them whatever they wanted for an MVP quarterback. I mean, it makes them the best team in the NFL, in my opinion.
The only thing I'd worry about, Lance, dude, is that collarbone, that collarbone of Rodgers that has, it's been a little bit pesky over the years.
Yeah, that's another thing. I mean, like I said, 37 years old, you're just not sure how far he's going to take. And Eric kind of put out a good point there with him being kind of not necessarily a diva, but more of, I mean, he wants things his way. I mean, that was a big thing with Mike McCarthy getting fired. So how does his relationship with Pat Shurmur go? He wants to be challenged and have an offensive scheme that's going to challenge him as a quarterback. As far as a compensation, though, I'm down with 3 firsts. I don't necessarily know about Noah Fant, but Tim Patrick is a really intriguing option to me as far as a piece that you want to potentially get rid of, because he's on that restricted free agent tender. He's going to be looking for a deal here. They need weapons in Green Bay, and if you're giving up number 9, maybe they come up and they double down on the wide receiver. They get Tim Patrick, and then they get like a Devontae Smith, and they turn that wide receiver core into something just legendary for Jordan Love to jump into and have some success right away.
Josina Anderson coming here saying, in regards to Denver, I'm told one of Aaron Rodgers' biggest attractions to the Broncos has been the sense of freedom he would feel with the offense with Elway still in the building. And Packers clearly have many things to think about. And then also Peter Bertowski of The Athletic has covered the Packers for years, saying that the connections from the Green Bay to Aaron Rodgers have gone from talking to a full-blown yell. So I think this is coming down the tracks. I think this is going to happen. It's going to happen.
And it's Chase Wellner, real quick. Let me just shout out Chase and then hold your thought. MHH Assemble, you guys rock. I'd honestly rather watch this than any other draft coverage. Chase, you the man. Go on.
No, I appreciate that, Chase. And well, let's just be honest. I think Aaron Rodgers, he's arrogant, but don't we like that about Aaron Rodgers? Don't we like that confidence? Don't we? I'm not going to call it swag. Swag is something that we see with Drew Lock and some of these young kids that don't quite work out. I want confident quarterback. I want a Super Bowl winning quarterback. I want the MVP. And that's what you're getting in Aaron Rodgers. It feels so surreal, guys. It's bizarre. I know everyone it probably feels anxious. I feel anxious. We're all waiting for this other shoe to drop. That shoe just happens to be Aaron Rodgers, and I hear you about his age, 37 years old. I get it. I would take 1 to 2 years if it means going from arguably the bottom of the barrel to a Super Bowl contending team. I'd do it. I'd trade Jerry Jeudy and 3 firsts, maybe even Bradley Chubb too. You got to look at it, though. You're not going to keep all these starters.
Man, more and more buzz. We're all getting – our phones are lighting up with communications, let's just say, from our colleagues, our sources around the league. Things are cooking. Real quick shout-out, Chris P. Appreciate you, buddy. All I want to know is who are we taking in the 7th? Hey, that's why we got the draft experts on with us here. Anyone want to take that?
Name somebody from the Iowa Hawkeyes, and we're in, baby. Let's do it now. I don't know. Probably looking for a running back there, kind of more of a special teams contributor that late. But we talked about it. We talked about the holes on this team for a long time. But many of us have also said, you know what covers holes? Elite quarterback play. You can have a non-perfect roster and a flawed roster if you have a special quarterback, a top 5 quarterback. Obviously, depth is going to matter at some point. We saw that with the Chiefs last year with the offensive line falling apart. Maybe don't take a running back in the first round. That's another conversation to have. But I mean, gosh, man, this could be a pretty special, memorable night. And the Broncos not even making a singular pick.
I love it. I love it.
It was crazy.
The seventh rounders. We're talking about tight ends like Noah Fant. How about we talk about another Noah Gray from Duke? I like him a lot. John Bates, Boise State. A couple late round tight ends. Maybe if the Broncos wanted to go that route.
It doesn't. I mean, late round guys, but man, if the Broncos can get Aaron Rodgers and still be able to nab Richie Grant at 40, I'm telling you, that's where I'm at. That's where my head's at. That would be. I could turn the draft off completely and just go lay down in peace. And if I had to die right then, it would be just perfectly fine.
Getting Aaron Rodgers and pairing that with Richie Grant would make Denver go from one of the youngest teams to one of the oldest.
Oh, easy, man.
We got a super chat from Corey H. Brings back, harkens back to Kevin Costner, Aaron Rodgers, no matter what. Man, this is so crazy, guys. Just last night, Zach and I were on this podcast breaking down what the Teddy Bridgewater deal meant. Victor, thank you for the super chat, buddy. And he says Luke nailed it.
Thank you.
And now here we are talking about Aaron Rodgers plausibly, realistically coming to Denver. Carl, dude, I'm seriously it just does surreal, unreal. It's
happy birthday, Carl.
Crazy. Yeah.
My daughter might be mad that she didn't give me the best present this year. But no, it is. It's still really hard to believe that this is going to happen. I keep waiting for the alarm to go off and wake up from this dream and then just be really disappointed the entire draft day. But, this is the NFL. It's been kind of a crazy year with everything that's going on. And I mean, obviously we saw Watson was possibly going to be traded. Wilson was possibly going to be traded. We see the 49ers trade up for their quarterback. And it's just, I mean, this has been one of the craziest years we've probably ever seen in the NFL when it comes to the most important position. So, I mean, it makes sense that, of course, during draft night, the craziest thing would happen.
Guys, sorry, I'm just looking at these messages and stuff I'm getting on my phone. It is a hopping night. We got one here from Chris, a.k.a. Crudum, jumping in. Had him on the Huddle Up podcast last night. It was great to meet you in person, or as close to as in person as we can get here in the current climate. Appreciate you, my friend. He says, draft night, let's go. I always love Zach's passion and input. What are your thoughts about making a real offer for Rodgers, Zach?
I mean, I'm pinching myself as well, like everybody else, like Carl, like Luke. And to Luke's point about the shoe dropping, won't that happen relatively soon? Because I feel like the Broncos' 9th pick would be part of that package. So a trade could conceivably go down relatively. I mean, we're talking in the next couple minutes, potentially. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited about it. I mean, the possibility of getting the reigning MVP and pairing him with, if they keep those pieces together, Noah Fant, KJ Hamler, Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, you have Melvin Gordon, you have a pretty good offensive line, you have Albert O, Tim Patrick. I mean, this is an offense that has young weapons. They needed that quarterback to push them over the edge. And I agree, it wasn't Drew Lock last year, but if you can get Aaron Rodgers, Chad, or anybody else, I mean, how could you smirk at that? Scoff.
Man.
Scoff, smirk.
Pobby, love you, appreciate you. You've been so generous. I mean, you're always generous, but this week in particular, you've just been on fire. Just know that means the world to us. You know we love you. She says, happy draft day, guys. Go Broncos. And I know that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of us on this podcast tonight will be probably since Christmas. You know, we've been keeping warm with the blankets that Pobby sent out to the pod host. So we all know the heart, how big the Pobby's heart is.
Yeah, appreciate you, Pobby.
I just want to say, as a thank you to Pobby, is my office is really cold, so I use your blanket whenever I'm live to help keep my legs warm.
Yeah.
Really appreciate the blanket.
Love it. All right. Let me just quickly see here, John.
Well, and here's a question for you guys real quick. Is this the first time where the Broncos, like Broncos country, would actually benefit from waiting? Like, say Jacksonville goes on the clock here, right? It's like, okay, well, we could actually use some extra time right now here in Denver. Maybe it's not so bad waiting for Trevor Lawrence to be called at the very last second.
It's crazy. Like, everyone wanted this answer to happen like right now. You know what I mean? And it's like they wanted Denver to go get Matt Stafford. They wanted them to go get Sam Darnold or whatever quarterback, whatever one you wanted. I mean, Deshaun Watson, trading up for Justin Fields, Trey Lance. But if this is actually going to happen the way that we think it's going to happen, and Aaron Rodgers is coming here, you wait until draft night to be able to land Aaron Rodgers, a Hall of Fame player. Like, this couldn't have worked out any better. And maybe it does show everybody that, hey, patience is just is a virtue. And that's, I mean, it's going to be amazing for the Broncos, hopefully.
And it's going to be amazing for the coaching staff. It's going to be, I'll secede right now to Nick Kendell. I said Vic Fangio is going to get fired after this year. Not with Aaron Rodgers here. If Aaron's going to be like, here, do the defense. I got the offense. You know what? I don't need you to care about the offense. It's finally maybe a match made in heaven. Aaron Rodgers and Vic Fangio. They can both stick to what they do well at, and that's their side of the ball.
And then you have Mike Kliss interjecting. While there are various reports out there on Aaron Rodgers and the Broncos, I'm told Broncos are not in talks with Green Bay. All Broncos brass in war room gearing up for the draft. So, of course, Kliss being the wet blanket.
Oh, it's that lying season. Here we go. I love it.
I mean, it's not
this is going to be insane.
This is going
to be insane.
Appreciate that.
All right, let's real quick. Let's grab the super from Victor. While we're still waiting on the precipice of things really getting going in earnest, let's try and catch up on some of our great supporters here. Victor, thanks again. Probably the most exciting draft in the decade. Time will tell. I mean, even if you take away the Aaron Rodgers component, I think this has been one of the more hotly anticipated drafts relative to Broncos country. And then we also got Kirk Erickson. That's a newer name that we don't recognize on Super Chat. So welcome, Kirk. Thank you very much for the support. Connect with us on Twitter. He says, first super, gents. I usually listen at work the day after, but wouldn't miss the draft. I'll try to tune in more often to chat with Broncos country. Keep up the good work, boys. Thanks for the best Broncos content anywhere. Hey, dude, hats off. Appreciate you, Kirk, for real. And it's not just, it's not about supers. It's about community and being engaged, contributing to the conversation. So keep coming back, my friend. We'd love to have you in the live chats and sounding off. Real quick here, we got one from the doctor. All right, the doctor, he's on call tonight, and we need him because we're all about to pass out. We're all about to have seizures. But now this is the PhD doc. All right, Dr. Bush in the house. Thank you, Christopher. Really appreciate you. Good to see you. Hope you're enjoying draft night so far, my friend. John, real quick, guys. We got Zeus in the house. Joseph, Michaela's in the house. Sal. That quartet, if possible. And then, guys, whatever's on your mind while John gets those queued up.
Yeah, I think it's interesting when you start to see these conflicting reports. I don't know about you. Sometimes we're all involved in these conflicting reports. It's just the nature of the beast and covering the Denver Broncos and covering the NFL. Definitely makes for interesting social media, to say the least. I expect you're going to start seeing some keyboard warriors getting after it if they haven't already started, that are friends in the Denver media, at least to all of us. But when I'm hearing Zach tell us Mike Klis is kind of refuting these reports, I find it interesting. Mark Schlereth obviously has a good beat on what's going on. Mike Klis does as well. Andrew Mason, our friends at KOA, the Fan. It's that season of lies. It's who do you know and do you want to believe them? It's really about preference at this point, and we gotta wait.
We got Zeus in the house. Zeus McPeak. Zeus. Good to see you, bro. Appreciate you. Hope all is well in your neck of the woods. He says, hi, all. Finally. Yep, it's here, buddy. It's here, and we're about to sink our teeth into it. Also, we got here, James. Sorry, the chat jumped you. We can't find your actual super, but we still got your message, and we're still going to read it, and we're still going to give you some love and shout you out. He says, I don't want Rodgers for the short term. I want to compete for the next 15 to 20 years. Short-term gain, long-term loss. All right, Eric, your thoughts, your reply to that.
I think it gives you a lot more options going forward if you get Rodgers. I mean, you can still go and get a project in a year or two, depending on what Denver has to give up. Maybe with some comp picks that they get, because they won't be able to keep everyone. They're able to pair those up and get more of a project type. I don't think that it's necessarily rules you out of this being a long-term move. I mean, Rodgers himself, 3, 4, 5 years, I think that's what he has left in the tank. But I don't think that it's just a short-term move. Denver still has options with what they can do going forward. Maybe they end up keeping Drew Lock and continue to work with him. Who knows? But definitely not just a short-term move. And even if it is, you take it if it gives you a chance at a Super Bowl.
Joseph, thanks for the super chat, my friend. Connect on Twitter. He says, can we get a show with Zach, Eric, and Nick? Maybe a little debate. In all honesty, we have been discussing behind the scenes, and it's coming down the pike soon. We're not going to go overboard and try and create, wedge content that's contrived where we each just take an opposite perspective and force it down your throat. But on the issues that we really do have truly, dug in opposing views on a given topic, we are going to start setting up some pod streams on those very issues and making it available to our supporters both on YouTube and Facebook. So just stay tuned for that, my dog. You will eventually get your wish.
That would be interesting.
That would be a lot of fun. Like quite honestly, I remember, what was it? Prior to the season last year, Chad, you had to take a huddle up night off, and I got to host for you and sit in with Zach. And Zach was very ardent against Garrett Bowles and him turning into anything that was actually going to be, a high quality player.
We don't talk about that, Lance.
We've had to eat. The amount of sriracha the two of us have had to put on the crow, we've had to eat on Garrett Bowles is, it's too much to even be contemplated.
Yeah.
John Houston jumping in here with a $5 super. Come on, guys, let's roll it back with our boy Locke. Have some faith. Hey,
who?
It'll be interesting to see how this plays out, though. I want to answer this question. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out. If the Broncos do go get, Aaron Rodgers, and they think that Drew Lock could potentially, continue to develop. He needs some time to just continue to work on his craft and everything. I see the potential. There's definitely some talent there to work with. It's just how long are you willing to wait with him as a starter? Well, if you get Aaron Rodgers and you're looking at a 2 or 3 year window, you can reevaluate that situation and keep Lock in tow and potentially have him develop behind Aaron Rodgers, similarly to Aaron Rodgers developing behind Brett Favre. There's a lot of different ways that this can play out, guys. And that's actually kind of an enticing scenario to me.
Can I just say real quick how nice it is, all right, to see this draft unfolding with people in the crowd, with normalcy. We have inched close. It's not quite back to normalcy, like perfect pre-pandemic normalcy, but my goodness, is it great to see this happening. Straightforward. Good to see you, bro. He says, draft day, baby. Going home early. Yeah, you get home, kick those feet up, keep the pod on. We're going to be breaking this down for you. Sal, appreciate you, dog. He says, y'all looking pretty fresh. Appreciate that very much, Sal. Connect with us on Twitter. Also, shout out to our Twitch community, Psycho Vantis. Appreciate you, my friend. And this is a message to all of you out there. If you're listening on Facebook or Twitter or YouTube, and you also happen to be a Twitcher, hey, at various points during our live streams, because we're going to be streaming through this entire first round, all of day 2, all of day 3, during these streams, be sure to head on over to Twitch, log in real quick, open up into one of our streams, contribute to the conversation there, because it's very helpful for us as we're trying to get our Twitch channel to a point where it's monetized and we can benefit from that. So that's one way organically you guys can help us do that. All right. But the notion, Carl, of, hey, man, I don't want to bring Aaron Rodgers here because of the implications for Drew. Like, I'm a Drew guy, right? I'm a Drew stan, if you will, right? I'm a Drew truther. But even I can't look that gift horse in the mouth. I mean, we're talking about Aaron Rodgers.
Right. Well, I think it's Mike Clay has the Broncos with the 6th best roster in football right now. Mm-hmm. And that's including them having a bottom 5 quarterback position. And so you look at this roster and you look at a lot of the young talent that they have. You got Von Miller with maybe 1 to 2 years left here in Denver. You just see the potential that this team could actually go win a Super Bowl in the next 2 to 3 years. And to me, if you get that kind of shot, you go take it. You don't really care about some other players' feelings that they might be frustrated that they don't get their chance. If you got the MVP on your team, I'm sorry, you go get that. And you go compete for Super Bowls. That's what this is about. That's what us as fans want. And to go away from that and just hope that a quarterback's going to develop, it's just not the way you go about football. I'm sorry. I want to go compete for Super Bowls every single year. And right now, I don't think Drew Lock puts them over the top to going towards that, especially when you got Patrick Mahomes in the division. And it just right now, if you go get Aaron Rodgers, I think the Broncos really are the best team in the AFC West.
Ooh. That might seem like a hot take, guys, but contemplate it for a moment. Michaela, good to see you. Appreciate you. Rocking her MHH shirt. Love it. She says, Aaron, and by the way, I noticed in this one, you've cropped it where we can actually make out that very, very, let me say, tastefully designed T-shirt by Miss Christie, right?
Yeah.
Aaron, she says, Aaron frickin' Rodgers, holy cow, this gets crazy. I heard Green Bay really wants Locke. Is it true? Now, real quick here, Trevor, the idea of, look, again, I'm a Locke truther, all right? I'll stand up and be counted, but if you're going to bring in Aaron Rodgers at 37, still playing at an elite level, I mean, reigning MVP, and Green Bay is willing to take Locke off your hands as part of the compensation, do you even really think twice about that?
I mean, I don't think so. I mean, I hear your point, Lance, about, potentially having Locke groom behind an Aaron Rodgers, but Locke doesn't have a whole lot of time left on. He's halfway through his rookie deal. I mean, he was a 2nd-round pick. He only had, the 4 years. So, what are you looking at there? Is he going to be ready 2 years down the line? And then you have to look at re-signing him at that point. There's a lot of variables there. So if throwing in Locke discounts the price of everything else you have to give up, then I think it's really a no-brainer. And, the picks, 3 first-round picks, if you've got a MVP caliber quarterback on your team, you're going to be picking at the bottom half of those first rounds anyway. So I'm not so worried about the picks. I think it's really just what players get thrown in as part of this potential deal. I think that's going to be what we are really spending our time kind of digging into and trying to figure out, was it a good trade or not? I think at the end of the day, though, based on what George Paton has done so far this offseason, if this deal actually does go through, I have a feeling that he's going to come out on the better side of things. The Teddy Bridgewater trade, we didn't think that we were probably going to get him for a 6th-round pick and only have to pay him $3 million this year and void next year's, altogether. So I think it's a no-brainer. You throw in Drew Lock all day, twice on Sundays.
I agree.
Levi,
can we just be honest? Let's just be honest real quick. And Levi Hope coming in with a generous super chat. Finally back, guys. Working. Great to see everyone. Let's get this started. Thank you so much, Levi. We appreciate your support. Go Broncos. Here, let's just be honest about Drew Lock. Drew Lock is not winning football games for the Denver Broncos. I would argue to say Drew Lock is not good at football. Let's just stop pretending that Drew Lock is going to develop. It's not to say that there's not potential there, but this league waits for nobody. I'm sorry, Drew, your time was up. I'm sorry you had Pat Shurmur. I'm sorry. It just that wasn't a good hand that was dealt to you. I get that you've had coaching turnover. Everybody's dealt with a lot of the same challenges that Drew Lock has. I feel for Drew. I think he's a good kid. I think he cares, unlike Paxton Lynch. I think Drew wants to get better. I'm not sure about Green Bay wanting Drew Lock with regards to that previous super chat. It's not something that I've been hearing, but I think if you're the Broncos and Aaron Rodgers comes here, you've got Teddy Bridgewater, who's a very competent number 2. I don't mind having Teddy here at all. I don't know why you would want Drew Lock on this roster at that point.
All right, we got Joey who's got a question here. Sorry, Nick, and I'm going to let you answer this. You ready?
Yes.
Does Rodgers have any trade clause? Does he get to choose who he goes to?
Carl's saying yes, he does have a no trade clause. I mean, he's a great quarterback, so I don't know the specifics of Rodgers' contract, but Rodgers is also 37 years old and looks like he enjoyed himself hosting Jeopardy. So he also has the card to play where, hey, Green Bay, if I'm not out of here, I'm gone. I don't need football. I can go hang out with my movie star fiance in Boulder and, do whatever the heck people do out in Boulder. Looking at you folks watching the draft right now. You know what I'm talking about. So he's got leverage. If Rodgers want to sit on him or if the Packers want to sit on him and he doesn't want to play ball, then he cannot play ball. Rodgers never seemed like somebody who absolutely needed football, right? Like he's a guy who's an incredible quarterback, really hard worker, puts obviously the time in the craft, but he has things outside of football going for him. So if they don't want to play ball and Rodgers is done with them, then he could easily say, all right, it was a good career. I'm out.
So just looked it up. Apparently there's only 8 players in the NFL with a no trade clause, and Aaron Rodgers actually isn't one of them.
Wow.
Okay. All right.
Good to know.
You guys all said yes. I didn't know.
Hey, but even if he did have a no trade clause, I mean, look, if I read a report earlier, and I'm trying to rack my brain from who it came from, but that he has made the threat similar to what we heard from Deshaun Watson earlier in the spring here that, hey, trade me or I'm just not going to play. I'm done. And if that's the case, the Packers, I think, especially considering his legacy, he's up there with Favre, he's up there with Bart Starr. Very ironic that trio each have played. Like if Rodgers gets dealt 16 seasons as a Packer, 16 seasons as a Packer for Favre, 16 for Bart Starr, the irony is pretty thick. Jacob, appreciate that super chat, buddy. And he's got a message for you, Nick. Appreciate the work, Nick. Big Broncos energy.
Absolutely. Jake and I go way back, dating back all the way to elementary school, 5th grade. So Jake and I have been friends for a long time. Appreciate it. Both him and I would lock eyes and wear that John Elway number 7 jersey on the playground. I remember those days playing flag football in elementary. So appreciate it, Jake. You're a great guy, man.
Duke Boynton, dude, it's been a minute. Super. Yeah, thanks, John. That's better that way. You're right. Thank you, dude. Good to see you. It's been a minute. We have missed you. No lie. He says, I just had to stop by, say howdy, y'all. Missed every single one of you. Have a blast tonight. We have missed you too, my friend. Hope things are good in your neck of the woods. And, hope you stick around tonight. I hope you're back with us again tomorrow night for day 2. It's going to be an absolute gas. Let's see here. Where are we? We're at 6:22. I'm trying to get to the timeline as current as possible. John Day from Georgia. I'm just seeing, because you're right, that format, it's better with that many of us on screen to do it like this. Thank God for Buona Beast. All right. Thank the football gods for Buona Beast to keep this thing rolling on the 1s and 2s. Day from Georgia. Good to see you, bro. My first draft with y'all. I'm psyched. Hashtag Broncos country. Hashtag state of being. And you are one of our great supporters and superstars, Dave, that exemplify that little catchphrase that sprang up however long ago it was. Broncos country is not a geographic location. It is a state of being. It's wherever you are, Dave, and you're in Georgia, and we love you, my friend. So, all right, it's looking like things are the draft, they're on the clock, are the Jags. I mean, we all know what the pick's going to be.
They need to hurry the hell up. They've had 5 months on the clock. I don't know what the suspense is for.
Let's go. I mean, what the Sam Hill is going on here?
We need this time. We need this time to get this deal done with AA Ron. We gotta. Maybe. We need it. We need it. I mean, I'm getting conflicting reports. That makes me nervous. I'm getting a little upset now. Mike Kliss shooting down all of our optimism.
Well, maybe they're getting ready to throw a wrench in the work and take Zach Wilson instead of Trevor Lawrence. I mean, who knows? This would be so much fun if that happened.
I love it, Lance.
I'm trying to see what Adam Schefter is reporting here, but Nelson, appreciate you, my friend. Not a name I recognize on Super Chat, so welcome. Thank you, Nelson. Make sure you connect with us on Twitter. He says, hey, fellas, my first ever Super Chat. Welcome. I'm a huge fan of all the shows. It is draft night. Let's draft a QB or Rodgers, and let's have ourselves a ball. Yeah, dude, it's an exciting time. Even if they don't end up landing Aaron Rodgers, here we are in the first round. It's a historical night. I mean, this is the type of day where Broncos fans the world over, you wake up, you put on your jersey, you put on your Broncos gear, you attack the day, and your boss is probably not even really looking at you too sideways. He's letting you come in your Broncos jersey because it's draft day. And for all of us here, I mean, Zach and I, we're not the draft gurus at Mile High Huddle, but even for us, this is one of those days on the calendar that you circle, Zach, you relish, and really, really anticipate.
Yeah, and finally the pick is in. It's Trevor Lawrence. Hate to spoil that for anyone out there, to Jacksonville, and now hopefully the Jets can keep this moving forward. I want to just get to pick number 3. That's when the draft really starts to me.
Do you got that official, Zach? Are you watching it? I have it pulled up on my phone. I haven't actually seen it.
I'm on Twitter, yeah. Let's try and figure out who – all right, so Zach, that was off Twitter, right?
Yeah.
So real quick.
Do we know who's tipping picks? Because I do, if you guys want to know it.
Well, I think what we want to try to do tonight is avoid, at least on the Broncos side, we don't want to spoil it if the Broncos do indeed make a pick tonight. We want to try and do it in as close to of real time as possible so we don't spoil it for anyone. But then again, they're here listening to us to get the information. So if the Broncos make the pick and we get the information, I mean, it might just be in our best interest and in our community's best interest to just get it out there if that's the pick and start analyzing this thing.
Well, the first two are going to go chalk, so.
Yeah, I have Roger Goodell walking to the podium right now. Yep. So if that gives any kind of an inclination as to where the timing is of this, so if we're not tipping picks off of Twitter, we're doing it from the live stream or whatever source you guys are watching this on live. I have, and it's Trevor Lawrence from Roger Goodell right now. So.
Yep, I got that as well. How weird, or let me ask you guys this, because speaking of Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars, Denver Broncos former quarterback Tim Tebow reportedly worked out for them at tight end. What's everybody make of that? I mean, could we see Tim Tebow catching touchdown passes from Trevor Lawrence on red zone? Are we going to be looking at Tim Tebow as a tight end fantasy flex? I mean, what's going on here with Tim Tebow and the Jacksonville Jaguars?
It's like asking, are you going to look at Tim Tebow, the Mets baseball star? It never happened, and he's 10 years too late to be converting to tight end. He should have done this at least 6 years ago or so. So I don't know what he's trying to do. Keep his name in the headlines, keep himself relevant. Just retire from sports. Go do something around the country. Be a motivational speaker. I don't know why you're trying to get involved with Jacksonville now when you've been out of the NFL picture for quite a long time.
The Broncos wizard, Mundungus, in the house. Good to see you, buddy. He goes, if it will help get Rodgers, I'll throw in my 2011 Equinox and my firstborn. Mundungus, you could probably live with that because you got a new one on the way this year. So, you could probably live with that compensation.
Appreciate it, Mike.
John, do you have, by chance, 25-year veteran of the United States Air Force, Chris Hernandez? If so, let's grab Chris here. Yep, it's looking like... Well, I don't know. I'm seeing Zach Wilson. His girlfriend?
Mom, I think, right?
His mom? I guess she does. Yeah, she is. Yeah, that must be his mother.
All right. Who's got better hair, Drew Lock or Zach Wilson?
Oh, man.
Same
Zach
barber.
Wilson.
Same barber.
I'm going to say our own Trevor.
What's up? Chris Hernandez with a very generous super. And happy birthday,
Thanks,
Chris. It's
Happy
also
birthday,
Chris's birthday as well.
Happy birthday, man.
Saying draft time. Let's go. Orange and blue.
Love you, Chris. Love you. Still one of our favorite YouTube profile pics of all time. And, of course, one of our favorite members of our community. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing better. Back on your feet with things, rocking and rolling, kicking butt, kicking life's butt. Great to have you with us, buddy. Thank you for the support.
And now Ian Rappaport's saying an update on the Packers. That's not really an update. Green Bay says they haven't engaged at all, despite a few teams calling about trades for Rodgers. The Packers have no plans to trade him, so nothing has changed currently.
I mean, do we expect any less out of Green Bay's side of things?
So what I agree, and I agree with that, Eric. And something else I would add is, I guess that means he's not going to San Francisco, right? I mean, we know Zach Wilson's here, so we could pretty much rule that out. I think we all pretty much doubted after the news broke, late last night, that he would be traded in the same conference, especially a team that they would actually, in all actuality, see in the conference championship. They don't want to see Aaron Rodgers. They would have to deal him to an AFC team if it was in their best interest.
Well, and I would add, Mike Silver earlier said the big sign for the Broncos is if they trade back, that means that they're working on a deal with Rodgers. It just means that they're trying to buy some more time, trying to get a little bit more draft allocation, possibly get some 2022 picks to kind of throw in there. So that's something to kind of keep an eye on. If the Broncos, obviously if they take a quarterback at 9, that means they're off on Rodgers. But if they try to trade back, that doesn't mean that they're off on Rodgers. Just means that they're trying to build more time into it.
That could backfire. I mean, if you're looking at the Broncos moving back to get time, I hear that and that makes sense. But what if Green Bay things shut down all of a sudden, or another trade partner comes in out of nowhere? John Gruden, not necessarily out of nowhere, but that's a big risk. And maybe obtaining Aaron Rodgers, that'd be tough.
Yeah, it is. It's a huge risk all the way around. I mean, you go for a 37-year-old quarterback, that's a risk. You go for a rookie quarterback, that's a risk. You trade back, hoping that you land Rodgers. I mean, that's just the fun of the game right now for the Broncos. Is everything's a huge risk, and everything could end amazingly, and it could end as poorly as possible at the same time. So, Peyton, what a first year as a GM to have all this going on his plate.
Let's hope he sticks it. Let's hope he sticks this one. He's done a very good job so far, and don't get me wrong, I love every move he's done. He bolstered the cornerback depth. The only thing he really hasn't done is figured out the quarterback situation, which could be coming down the pike here any time now. The linebacker position, but he went out and got some value signings with Kyle Fuller coming in, $9.5 million. That's a great signing for this defense. You've got the Shelby Harris deal, you've got the Justin Simmons deal as well. There's a lot to like about it. Now let's just hope that he hammers this one down and finalizes his team and puts them into contention right away. Trevor, what do you think, dude? We haven't got to listen to Trevor here in a minute. What do you think, man? What's going through your head right now?
Yeah, I was just going to say, we're talking about, trading back, still being in the mix for Rodgers. I feel like the pressure is really on Green Bay to do something before it even gets to that pick, or even before it gets to San Francisco for that matter, because if Rodgers is really digging in and taking this stance that, hey, I'm not going to play in Green Bay, it is in their best interest to move him right now when they still can, and they can capitalize on a number 3 pick or a number 9 pick or one of these premier selections in this draft. The only reason that I would see that not happening is, maybe they aren't in love with some of these guys at the top of this draft, which I find hard to believe because there's such really good talent here. But I think that the pressure is squarely on Green Bay. And I think that they need to do something quickly. So we'll see.
John Houston, thank you for the super chat, buddy. And he says, I always liked Bernie Kosar. Nice guy. Poor Bernie, man. This guy, who knows what his NFL legend could have been if not for one John Elway, a guy that got, what was it? I'm probably the oldest guy on screen right now. So I think my memory is the one that probably stretches back the furthest, but 2 AFC title games for sure. Was it 3? Was it 3 that Bernie led the Browns to? I can't remember for sure, but I know it's 2. Poor Bernie, man. But he still had quite the career for the Browns, and he's a legend in Cleveland to this day. He's, in the 90s, started doing media. He's a legend. He's had his hands in a few different things. All right. Real quick, guys, couple shout outs here. Appreciate you guys heading on over to Twitch and our Twitch community. Appreciate you guys. Keep that conversation going. Make sure you're talking on Twitch. That is crucial. Also, we have, about 700 live viewers with us right now on YouTube and a couple hundred on Facebook. And then you add up Twitch and Twitter. We got a lot of Broncos fans in the house with us. Guys, we would really appreciate it. Even if you're only with us for a few moments, please like the video, all right? Or if it's a platform that's a heart instead of a like or a thumbs up, interact with it. Give us the thumbs up. It helps us out tremendously. And really what it does is if it helps us grow and reach new Broncos fans, all right? Like-minded Broncos fans just like you. So think about this, all right? You got Broncos fans out there wandering the desert that might be ignorant of what's out there, this community waiting to embrace them, waiting to bring them on in to the manger. So you liking this video could help reach those very Broncos fans. Appreciate it.
And
Franklin.
Chad, it does look like the pick is in for the New York Jets. Surprise, surprise. Zach Wilson, BYU.
Yep. He's making the walk, and the Niners are officially on the clock. Franklin, thank you, buddy. At a local establishment watching the draft, but you guys and gals are on my phone, so I can be a part of this great community as the draft happens. Go Broncos. Appreciate that, Franklin. And by the way, if you're on Twitter, connect with us, my friend. I've tried to find you after a couple of these most recent shows, and I can't find a Franklin Peterson. So do one of these waves in the mentions, and we'll connect.
I feel bad for Zach Wilson. I really do.
Yeah, talk about Zach Wilson and the Jets.
Zach Wilson, I liked Zach Wilson a lot. He was actually he was my favorite quarterback candidate. The big concern for me, everybody's going to talk about his arm. Everybody's going to talk about his improvision. One of the big concerns, and Nick and I have talked about it on MHI a little bit. Nick's always reminding me, when he gets pressured, bad things tend to happen. And he did not get as much pressure at BYU as he's about to get in the AFC East. So I think that's going to be really, really tough. The New York Jets are not known for doing well with quarterbacks in the first round, still searching for their savior. I hope it works out for Zach Wilson, but I'm a little nervous for the guy.
It just seems like of late, New York is where with the New York Jets, that's where highly drafted, much anticipated, much coveted quarterbacks go to wither. Jacob Chase, thank you, buddy. I got off work, threw on the pod in the truck to learn Aaron Rodgers may be on his way to Denver. My mind is blown. Guys, it sure was feeling like that, and it's still, Mike Kliss with the wet blanket, then the report that comes out, the Packers, they still have no intention of trading him. It's hard to say, but the guys in Denver, the ones close on the Broncos side of things, are reporting that the deal is basically done. All right. It's this close. It's happening. Now, who knows if it doesn't happen, guys, I guess you'll just have to, we'll all have to console ourselves, I guess, Carl, with, Drew Lock, Teddy Bridgewater, and whatever the Sam Hill happens at pick 9.
Yeah. I mean, just if they don't get Rodgers, there's still other options out there. I mean, we could still see a Justin Fields or a Trey Lance that ends up in Denver, and that could be a great thing. I mean, we've been talking about it for months on a lot of our shows of just how great this quarterback class is. And so I don't think it completely takes away from those. It's just kind of hard going from, oh my gosh, Broncos could be the top team in football to, okay, now we got to hope that this rookie develops. So that there is some drop off there, but it's still, there's a lot of good things the Broncos could do tonight and still make this team a lot better and have a lot of hope for the future. So it would be a little let down, because we've all been pretty hyped up. I mean, my blood pressure, I'm pretty sure it's spiked right now. Just waiting for all this. And it's an emotional roller coaster right now for Broncos country. And I love it. This is what it's about. This is the fun of football. You just never know what's going to happen.
Well, we don't know what's going to happen with San Francisco here in the next 4 minutes. My palms are sweaty. I'm nervous. Hair on the back of my neck is up. I don't know about you guys, but man, we've been guessing for weeks since the San Francisco 49ers came up to 3. What's everybody think the Niners are going to do? I mean, this is it.
So Kyle Trask.
I gotta ask you. I gotta ask you one thing here, Luke. You said your palms are sweaty. Is there vomit on your sweater already? Mom's spaghetti. Mom's
spaghetti. Yeah, man. I tell you what.
Arms are heavy.
Yeah, that's right. We get a little B rabbit going on, but no, man. 49ers. I don't know what they're gonna do. So much of this draft has been contingent on this number 3 pick.
How about everyone at the same time? We all say who they're gonna pick on 3.
All right, let's do it. Ready?
1, 2, 3.
Trey Lance. Oh, I love it. Is that 100%?
Yeah, I didn't think we'd all be on board with the same pick.
I said Mac Jones.
The money swung from Mac Jones to Trey Lance as far as Vegas is concerned. Day of the draft, basically. That's the last thing I heard.
And that was weird.
It looks like there's a lot of cheering going on right now, so it looks like they might be making the selection instead of trading it over to Green Bay. So it's going to be good news.
That's good for Denver. So, Mike, thank you for the super. Hopefully, we've updated you a little bit on what's going on with Aaron Rodgers. What's the buzz? Sorry, I missed the news. Hopefully you're up to speed now, Mike. But it could be happening. Stay tuned, stay with us because things are popping.
Mac Jones looked very sad a second ago in the green room, so not sure. Maybe the Niners are waiting 2 more minutes to give him the call. Looks like they panned. Was that Trey Lance or Justin Fields' family?
Couldn't tell.
Oh, yeah, Mac doesn't look like a guy who just picked.
That was Justin Fields they just showed.
Okay, all right. And then you got Booger McFarland. Oh, Booger. Crudum coming in with a very generous super chat. Appreciate you so much. Do we got news, Chad?
Yeah, real quick. Got to welcome on Tom. Sorry, Tom. You're sitting down there in the green room, and there's so many of us on right now. It took me a second to look at the clock. I'm like, it's 6. Oh, Tom's going to be on. Guys, this is Thomas Hall, bottom right-hand corner. Many of you know that Tom needs no introduction. Of course, the brainchild behind, I should say, Convincing Numbers on YouTube. It's been a while since he really cranked out the Convincing Numbers series, but trust when we say Tom's had a lot going on in his neck of the woods, Zach.
It's Trey Lance. Sorry, Tom. It's good to see you on here. But
Tom, what's going on? The Niners are picking Trey Lance. How you feeling, buddy?
How am I feeling? Is that the question for me? You can hear me okay? My mic broke down on me. So
yeah, you're okay. Just speak with a little volume and you'll be fine.
All right. I would have been surprised if they went with Mac Jones. So I think Trey Lance is right up Shanahan's alley. So mobile quarterback, I think he's going to work wonders with him. So
does Trey Lance start from day one, or is he going to be sitting behind Jimmy Garoppolo? And when Jimmy Garoppolo gets hurt, we'll finally see Trey Lance.
That's a good question. Everybody says Trey Lance isn't ready, but I don't know. I think there's a lot of rumors going around that Garoppolo is going to be traded, so you might see Lance from day one. It's hard to say, but I think there'll be a lot of growing pains with that. But I think Shanahan's got a good offensive mind. They'll figure out how to use him, even if he's starting from day one.
All right, real quick, Crudum, appreciate you, brother. No place I'd rather be than here with my football priest, talking and enjoying the draft. We are grateful to have you with us, my friend. Really appreciate you. All right, real quick, John, I want to go around the horn. We need Sereth. He has a super sticker. Real quick, guys, we'll keep it relatively brief. Eric, your thoughts on, your boy McCorkle? He didn't go. It was Trey.
It was always going to be Trey Lance. I mean, there's no way the 49ers wanted to go and settle for Jimmy Garoppolo Jr. if they're trying to upgrade the quarterback position. They just got lost to a quarterback that was mobile, was a threat with his legs in the Super Bowl a couple years ago in Patrick Mahomes. They weren't going to settle for an immobile quarterback that doesn't have the best arms. No matter how smart he was, no matter how well he can come and run the offense, that just wasn't the way they were going. It was always going to be Trey Lance.
What are your thoughts, Nick?
I mean, I'm so excited to watch Trey Lance in this wide zone offense. Mike McDaniel, maybe they're not going to trade Jimmy Garoppolo now to give Trey Lance a year, but the dude is brilliant. He's got an incredible arm talent. He's built like a truck. He's the youngest quarterback in this class. And heard from, talking to people that Trey Lance was leaning that way. A lot of people said Mac Jones still, but when the trade happened, it just screamed Trey Lance. So, I'm a little bit bummed because he was a guy that I had a lot of hopes on. The Broncos maybe taking a swing on, especially after they landed Teddy Bridgewater yesterday. But I'm happy for Trey Lance. He's going to an awesome situation, and I'm happy he is going to the NFC.
Hey, guys, real quick. I'm hearing some clicky-clacky. So if you're not talking and it's possible to mute yourself when you're not on the mic, do so to avoid some of that clicky-clacky popping sounds. Also, Tom, I'm getting a message from Mr. Producer. If it's possible, sit a little bit closer to whatever device has the mic, just a little bit closer. It's a little quiet, according to John on the end there. So, Sareth Chang, appreciate you, brother. You're amazing, dude. Thank you for that super chat. Glad to have you with us, my friend. Great to see you. And, Tom, I don't know if it's possible with your device to mute when you're not on camera or on mic when you're not actually speaking, but maybe look into that because – actually, you can do it right now through StreamYard. Yep, you did it. Perfect. You demand. So you're good. And once you go on mic, like if we swing it over to you for a comment on something, just unmute and boom, and then mute off. I do it every time I'm not talking. I mute my microphone. FYI, John, I did just send it, so check it out, buddy, on that email. All right. Let's see, Carl, your thoughts on Trey Lance to San Fran?
Yeah, it's a great pick for them. I really didn't understand the whole Mac Jones. Like I said, he's a guy that you can win with, but not be a guy that you win because of. And Trey Lance is one of those guys with the ceiling that he has. He could easily be the best quarterback in this draft, and he's going to probably the best situation of any of the top quarterbacks. The 49ers have a lot of talent, got one of the best offensive minds in football that he's going to be working with, and it just sets up well for him to be successful even early on, because he has the legs, he has the arm. It just I'm glad that he went there, and I think he's going to do great. And I find it funny that 2 North Dakota State quarterbacks have seen 2 of the biggest draft day trades, or not day trades, but trades in the draft to go up and get them. Of all the colleges, that's the one that has seen teams just really go crazy for quarterbacks. And so happy for him. I'm just interested now, where does Mac Jones go in the draft? Because it just kind of seems like it was either 49ers or it's going to be like down into the teens.
Could be Washington. I could see Chicago choking and trying to trade up to go after him, right? They like to do that. They like to give away the house to go get an awful quarterback in the draft.
You're not wrong there, man. You're definitely not wrong there. Is the whole Mitchell Trubisky trade, they got scared somebody was going to jump him with the 49ers, and they gave up, I don't even remember what it was, a second and a third round pick or something like that to jump up from 3 to 2 to take Mitchell Trubisky. Like, it's absolutely terrible. But I mean, McCorkle is at least, I think he's better than Mitchell Trubisky. I think he may not be the athlete that Trubisky is, but he's a much more accurate passer. He's got a little bit more experience as far as like being at Alabama for more than just a couple of seasons. And he didn't play a whole bunch of games. And that's the big knock on Trey Lance. Mac Jones and Trey Lance played the same amount of games, 17 total starts between the two of them. So, it's a very interesting thing to me, and I think that if you're going to have him learn behind anybody, you got Andy Dalton and Andy Dalton 2.0. So, why not? Like, if that's the move you're wanting, then there you go. You got it.
I love it. And we
got reminder, guys, if you're on mic and we flash a super, grab the super, because otherwise we'll be here till kingdom come, because everyone is being so outgoing and everyone's passionate in the chat. So just give them if you're on mic and John flashes the super or I flash the super, just grab it. And I'm going to do it in this case. But Jeff, thank you, buddy. Elway Super Bowl, end career. Manning Super Bowl, ends career. Rodgers Super Bowl, ends career. All Broncos. We shall see, Luke.
Yeah, we shall see. I'm excited for Trey Lance. Makes me wonder where Mac Jones is going to go as well. I don't hate Mac Jones the way a lot of folks do in terms of hating on a prospect. I don't think he has a noodle arm. He's just was born the wrong decade. This is not where the NFL game currently is. It's where that dual threat quarterback is. I'm excited for Trey Lance. I'm excited for Kyle Shanahan. I think they've got a lot of work to do, but I don't think we're surprised. What happens now with Atlanta? That's one of the biggest questions, and it's got to be Kyle Pitts.
Let's get some thoughts here from Trevor. Trevor, there's been, I wouldn't necessarily call it debate, but some of us here on the podcast side have been a little bit split over, not necessarily that Kyle Pitts is not an elite caliber tight end, right? But like the wisdom, if you're the Denver Broncos and he's on the board at 9, taking him at 9. What are your thoughts on Kyle Pitts?
You gotta love Kyle Pitts. He's a surefire blue chip prospect. I don't think there's really any way you can go wrong with taking him. I definitely understand the argument of Denver taking him at 9. It's kind of, you're just loading up on a position that is already pretty loaded to begin with, and on top of the receiver position. It looks like the Falcons pick is in right now. I do expect this is probably going to be Kyle Pitts here. But that'll be interesting to see. I think if he's there at 9, I'm not sure that he actually is the pick. I think they would rather move down if that were an option, or look at some of the other guys that are on the board.
Tom, unmute, because I'm about to ask you a question here as I say thank you to Rello Takeover. Good to see you, buddy. What's up, y'all? Broncos Draft, Broncos Country, MHH War Room. Yes, sir. Appreciate you. Of all your analytics, Tom, I know you've gone back, looked at probabilities, this position, that position, this pick in the draft, first round, success rates, miss rates. What can you tell our listeners on the analytics side about the wisdom of taking a tight end in the top 10 or the top 5, no less?
Well, from what I've seen many times is you can wait to get a tight end later that's going to provide you adequate, if not better than average on impact as far as playing in the NFL. There has been only one tight end in the top 10 in considerable amount of time of the stuff that I've studied, and that was Eric Ebron. And, he has been serviceable. So in my mind, you wait on a tight end. You don't take him in the first round. You wait till the later rounds because you're going to find somebody.
Make that number 2. Kyle Pitts has just been selected by the Atlanta Falcons.
There you go.
Yeah. I mean, Pitts is an amazing talent. I think he's going to maybe be a little bit different, used a little bit differently than some of the tight ends have been used in the past. So maybe he breaks that mold. But I will say I also looked at some of the tight ends that had been selected in the first round compared to the ones that provided really good impact in the NFL, were pretty good starters, versus the ones that weren't. And there are some traits that Kyle Pitts has that can make him a superstar in the NFL.
All right, real quick, shout out to our Facebook super supporters showing us the love with some stars. Randy Jones, appreciate you, brother. Gary Leeds Palmer, David Wilder, Joe Kinghorn, that's a really cool name. Tim Klunder, Tom Agnetti, let me scroll over. Denise Phillips, Marvin Bigelow, Claude Riley, Esteban Rivas, another really cool name. And Facebook's telling me there's even more. Victor Rios, Brad Murdoch as well, one of the OGs. Appreciate each and every one of you. Just understand tonight things are really hopping. We're going to definitely be checking back on the back end to see your stars and give you shout outs when you do. We might not be able to see every actual comment attached to those or questions attached to those stars in real time, but keep it coming, guys. It all adds up and it all supports the content you're getting right now. All right, so with the Bengals going on the clock here soon, right now, guys, let's just talk about Nick. Let me get over to you for a second. It's been a minute. The way the board has fallen now, let's just take that. I guess you can include Aaron Rodgers as part of the analysis here, but how will the way it's fallen so far, how's it shaping things for the Broncos at 9?
Well, everything shapes around the quarterback decision here. And obviously, there's a lot of talk about Rodgers still to the Broncos, but a lot of it will come down to Green Bay has to agree to a trade, right? And Ryan Harris, former right tackle of the Broncos, now doing radio bits, hosting radio for 92.5, I believe. And he's saying that he's talking to a few Packers sources saying the Packers front office has decided to call Aaron Rodgers' bluff and that no trade will be made currently. So the Broncos now are in a precarious situation where they are sitting there looking at the board. How much do they like Justin Fields? Is it worth it to sit there and wait and maybe trade back and gamble on getting an Aaron Rodgers in that trade back? You have Teddy Bridgewater. You have Drew Lock already there. Or do you like Justin Fields enough where, assuming now that he's not at the pick 1 through 4, he'll probably be there at 6. If he's there at 6, do you like Fields enough to go up and get him? Or is it more of you're going to sit there at 9, trade back from 9, and accumulate assets where you can still be a front runner for Aaron Rodgers if this does get dragged out? Because the Aaron Rodgers thing just feels like it's going to end in a divorce either way. Do you want to put yourself in a position where you can be one of those teams to make the strongest bid for him?
Zach, it feels like if you're the Packers and you can see the writing on the wall with Aaron Rodgers, he's trying to force his way out. He's already threatened he won't play if you don't trade him. Don't you feel like it's incumbent to get that deal done ASAP while the getting's good? I mean, striking while the iron's hot in terms of the value teams might be willing to give up while they're still in the top 10.
Yeah, I understand how important he is to the Packers and how much he's brought the organization, but he's coming off an MVP season. He's 37 years old. His value will never be as high as it is right now. And they drafted his successor last year. How long is Jordan Love going to sit on the bench for? Why did you use a first-round pick on him anyway? So I would think that if they want to get a deal done, they would look to get it done now. I saw that after June 1st, the financials make a deal a lot more palatable, but the Packers can't wait that long because no one will be pining for Aaron Rodgers. Everyone that needs a quarterback right now will solve that position in the draft. So I would tend to think that the Packers, if the time for calling his bluff was a few months ago, the time for making a deal is now. And the fact they haven't says to me that maybe there was a little more smoke from one side or the other that set this whole rumor in motion.
By the way, real quick, Bama Broncos, appreciate you, buddy. He goes, I'm more excited than a twister in a trailer park. Bring on the freshest blood. Really appreciate you, brother. Eric, your thoughts on this topic?
So with Aaron Rodgers with the conversation I was having, it seems like that the big deal is the finances of it. It seems like Denver was really wanting to get a deal done, but Green Bay only has like under $3 million in cap space currently. They're eating $31 million to trade him. It's much better for them financially if they wait until June 2nd. Denver right now, they don't want to wait until then. We'll see what happens, kind of as Nick was talking about. We'll see what happens with Justin Fields if they go up and get him, if he falls to 9, whatever the case may be. But if they trade back, then Aaron Rodgers is still very much in play later down the road.
Very, very interesting. Might be disappointing, I guess, Lance, to some Broncos fans if that's the way it shakes out. But again, well, I guess everyone can console themselves with analyzing, as the last Super Chat said, the new blood that's going to be coming in at 9.
Well, and I put this out on my Twitter account earlier today. I mean, let's stop the vitriol for a little bit, guys. We are all Broncos fans, and regardless of what you think of, Drew Lock or Justin Fields or Trey Lance, whoever it may be, the Broncos do decide to take it 9 or in a trade up or a trade back. This team is getting better, and the roster as it's currently constructed is very well constructed. I mean, I think Pro Football Focus had him as the 6th best roster. Mike Clay of ESPN had him as the 6th best roster in the NFL. So, regardless of what happens here soon, the Broncos are going to get better. I mean, would we like to see a Hall of Fame quarterback come into here? Absolutely. But also at the same time, I mean, my preferred option going into the draft was trading up to number 6 overall to go and get Justin Fields. And I mean, that's still definitely very viable and up on the table here. So, I mean, it sounds like Cincinnati has a pick coming in here as well. But it's very interesting to me to see how this is all going to play out. I would love either one of these options. If Justin Fields is the guy here at number 6 overall, then absolutely, then I'm all for that. I still, again, I mean, whether it's Aaron Rodgers or Justin Fields, this team is going to get better. They're going to be competitive next year.
All right, so it looks like the pick is in. Am I hearing Jamar Chase, guys, for the Cincinnati Bengals?
Yep.
Are you kidding me? Man, I feel so bad for Joe Burrow. Dude.
He wanted it.
Cincinnati Bengals. Yeah, he wanted it. Did his knee want it? Because he's going to be on his back all this next season. That is man. That's disappointing. It really is. You're not going to protect your number 1 quarterback. I don't get
it. It's one of those. They have a couple guys that can play maybe average to below average tackle. And they feel like their quarterback can get rid of the football quick enough, and he's got enough legs to make things work. And I guess, you want to make your number 1 quarterback happy. And if it's go get his guy that he loves in Jamar Chase, I can understand it. Plus, this offensive tackle draft is deep. I mean, exactly, you're not going to get a Sewell or a Slater in the 2nd round, obviously, but you still get guys that could be at least average players for you that can come in, do pretty well. So I get it. I probably would have gone offensive tackle as well, but I if it makes your quarterback happy, I guess that in today's game, especially, I mean, we're seeing Rodgers wants to be moved, Watson wants to be moved, Wilson has talked about he wants to be moved. So you got to almost kind of play to the ego of the quarterback a little bit to make it work. And I don't quite agree with it. I still think you should do what's best for the team, but right now, I'm sure Joe Burrow is jumping for joy. Well, if he can with that knee.
Hopping.
It also seems like that one of the teams that really flagged Penei Sewell with maturity questions was Cincinnati.
Interesting.
Justin Gordon, real quick, appreciate the super chat, buddy. He says, and it's a symbolic one, $9.21 for pick 9 in 21. Love that, dude. Very poetic. We see you. 2nd year watching our War Room, rocking my Broncos number 12 jersey, hoping to will Aaron Rodgers to Denver, #discount, double check. If not, rock with Lock. Hey, dude, I'm superstitious. I'm not just a little stitious like Michael Scott. I'm superstitious. So anything you can do to stack the deck in your favor, man, by all means.
Does it look like the pick is in for Miami? It looks like the commish is at the podium.
He hasn't announced Jamar Chase yet for me.
Oh, yeah.
This could be a trade spot, boys.
I saw the aqua lights on him. That's what did it.
Okay. Yeah, this is a trade spot. I did actually plug in the Broncos for breakfast. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Mountain Time. But when I did a mock with Scott Kennedy, so far this has fallen exactly as I predicted it. But I had the Broncos moving up to pick number 6 for Justin Fields. It's been pretty well noted that the Broncos coaching staff is interested in Justin Fields. They've sent everybody out there to Columbus a few times. And Miami, if the board fell this way with both Pitts and Chase off the board, there's been some talk that they would like to move back a little bit, still stay in the top 12, and have their choice of Jalen Waddle or Devonta Smith. So we'll see what comes to pass here. But this is a flip spot where the future of the Broncos could change here if they do end up moving up, which is very possible.
Nick, in that trade scenario, what did you have the Broncos giving up to move up 2 spots?
I had them giving up 71 and a 2022 second, I believe.
Okay. That seems realistic to me, because it definitely sounded like Peyton didn't want to give away future ones for next year. So I think that's that's a realistic scenario. I think that's fair.
Yeah. Real quick, Ryan Hamer, across the pond in Britain. It's late. It's 1:30 a.m. in his neck of the woods. Really appreciate you being with us, my friend. He says, I've just woken up for the draft. Set his alarm, I'm guessing. Rodgers, am I still asleep? Broncos country for life. Man, it's so cool to see just all the different locales that our community comes from, because, again, Broncos country, it is a state of being. So welcome, Ryan. It's good to see you, buddy. All right, guys, what are the Dolphins doing here?
Trading back.
I think they're going to stay and take Waddle.
Trading back with Denver so that Denver can go get Justin Fields, please. Let's do that. I'm about that one.
What about those other teams that want quarterbacks? Chicago, Washington, New England. Scary, right? I mean, especially when you bring up the big bad Patriots. Could they be looking to come up?
There are teams like the Chargers, too. They need a tackle. I mean, Sewell's right there. They can move to Miami spot. Miami wanted to move down. The Chargers reportedly wanted to come up. That could be another possibility. I think this is a trade, though, coming from Miami.
Pick is in from Miami.
No.
Sorry, Zach.
Pick is in from Miami.
No, never mind.
I got it back, Tom. There you go. Tom's laughing at that one.
I'll be petty and I'll spoil it for everyone. It's Jalen Waddle.
Okay.
Okay
then.
We've got Andrew Morrow.
Happy just like Burrow.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, the college connection back to back. Thanks, Andrew. Your super chat was jumped. It's just so hot and heavy tonight, but we're still grabbing your question. We're still giving you your love. Appreciate you. Hashtag says Andrew. Hashtag Nick's Beer Fund. Go MHH. Go Broncos. I hope we can do a discount double check tonight. Please, no blue and orange. You know what? Your 2 friends below the waist tonight. Get the deal done. Thanks, Andrew. Appreciate that. Time will tell. But I got to tell you, Trevor, I'm going to throw it back to you, buddy. I got to tell you, the closer we inch to pick 9 without anything breaking on the whole Aaron Rodgers front, I mean, got to assume that the chances of the Broncos making that deal dim.
Yeah, I mean, every pick that goes in, it definitely drops the odds a little bit more. I'm still thinking, I'm kind of sticking with what I thought the Broncos are going to be, what they would do from the beginning, and that's trade back. And so far, the draft is pretty much unfolding exactly how most of us thought it would at the top. I think that there definitely are a few teams that are probably a little bit more inclined to trade up and grab a Justin Fields here in these next several picks than Denver is. So I think it's going to get to 9 and Denver's going to be on the clock and they'll have to make a decision whether or not they're going to move back.
Sharon, thank you for that super chat. It's great to have you back in the chat. It's been a minute. Sharon says, Merry Draft Day. What an inaugural year for Peyton. Yes, indeed. Things are popping. George Payton, I mean, John Elway got quite a few deals done in his, first few years. But, man, I'm trying to think 2011, of course, Vaughn and that draft class. I don't remember there being too many head-turning free agent deals in 2011. Of course, 12, you get Payton. 13, you add a couple of guys. 14, you had a huge free agency period. But, yeah, I mean, Peyton's so far, I mean, the only bone I can pick with Peyton up to this point is his decision with Philip Lindsay. But even that is one that, you can understand. You can understand the rationale. But, yeah, he's been pretty stellar, Lance.
It's been awesome, man. I mean, like I said earlier, he got Ronald Darby in on a 3-year deal there's some scheme versatility with him. You can play some man as well. I'm probably better in zone. It gets hit on double moves a lot, but still, I mean, that's an upgrade there for the Broncos over just Michael Ojemudia. But then you go out and you go with Kyle Fuller. You bring back the core guys that you wanted to bring back in Shelby Harris and Justin Simmons. He's done a great job, and now he's just got to figure out these last final puzzle pieces to see where it's going. As far as Philip Lindsay's concerned, I mean, that really kind of stung to a lot of Broncos fans because he is the Colorado kid. He's the Denver guy. He went to Denver South High School, I believe, obviously the University of Colorado. So he's been in Denver his entire life, and he was a super huge fan favorite, but he just didn't work in Pat Shurmur's scheme. They wanted to run him between the tackles and instead of getting him to the outside. And even when they did run him to the outside, he decided to cut it back and run between the tackles. So he's also not the best receiver out of the backfield. He had 6 or 7 drops last year. So again, it's just with what Pat Shurmur wants to do with his running backs, Philip Lindsay just didn't fit there. And I understand why they went and got Mike Boone, who is a little bit better of a receiver and a tougher runner between the tackles. He's got some more bulk to his frame. So you can't really fault the guy for making that tough decision. But at the same time, it just sucks for Philip Lindsay because, there's a lot of Broncos fans that wanted to see him get the money that Melvin Gordon got. So I don't know. It's very interesting to see how this is kind of playing out right now. Waddle at 6 is huge to me. This is, again, Broncos are still in striking distance of a top-tier quarterback. So it's going to be fun.
Not crazy about the Von Miller part for me. I would have liked to see either an extension done, but just what is it, 18 million for this year? That bothers me. Kyle Fuller, it is a good deal, but it's a 1-year rental. Kareem Jackson, 1-year rental. I like both of those moves, but to pretend like it's going to be anything really past that, I can't go there. So yeah, I like what George Paton is doing, but he's just, man, he's been blessed with this Aaron Rodgers news, and to let it slip, it would be really tough to see Justin Fields within striking distance like everyone's mentioning and not either want to go after him or take that big gamble, that big risk, trade back, let someone else grab him, and maybe you get Aaron Rodgers.
Well, and to kind of piggyback off of there, and don't get me wrong, I like Vic Fangio, and I think that they're doing a really good job of changing the culture of this team. But at the same time, as you've very blatantly said before, we don't know if Vic Fangio's staying around. So what they're doing is they're loading up the defensive side of the football for him to have the most success. They gave him his top cornerback when he was in Chicago. They gave him another cornerback. They brought back a safety that's thrived in this system, another safety that is one of the top safeties in the NFL. They're giving him every single piece that he can have to succeed this year. So George Paton essentially is doubling down on Vic Fangio for right now, with also if things go poorly, he can move on from Vic Fangio, get rid of some of these older players that are on these 1-year rentals and rebuild the team in his vision. Or if nothing else, you go back and you say to Kyle Fuller, who's I think still on this on the younger side of 30. You can go and say, hey, we'll give you a 3-year extension. You're going to be the bookend cornerback with Ronald Darby for the next 3 years, and we'll get you a safety in the draft. And we have a stellar defense set up for at least the next 3 or 4 years. So it's a very interesting dichotomy there where you're selling out for this year to make sure that Vic Fangio can actually continue to keep his job, or you also have the opportunity to, if Vic doesn't get the job done and this team continues to lose football games, that he can move on and still rebuild this team in the correct vision and in the way that he wants to. So, again, it's nice to see the moves that he has made, but also at the same time, he's looking out for and he's covering all of his bases, which is a very smart thing to do as a first-year GM.
Brandon, thank you for the super chat, buddy. He says, Bama Broncos, bring him to Dove Valley. Hey, it's about to start happening, buddy. It is about to start. John, we need Michaela. Zach, what's on your mind?
There goes Penny Sewell to Detroit.
Penny Sewell going to protect one Jared Goff, huh? I'm hearing a weird sound. Check your mutes, boys, if you're not on.
Somebody's typing.
I think that's Thomas again.
One thing about Peyton's job, I think he's done a great job in free agency, but I think this draft is really going to define the start to his career. Let's face it, the Kansas City Chiefs have drafted about twice as many impact players that over the last decade than the Broncos have, and we've got a nice roster that's coming together. I think there's some potential to have some really impact players on these last few drafts. But if he comes away with I mean, the Chiefs have the impact player at the most important position in all of sports. If Payton doesn't come away with Aaron Rodgers from this draft or some other very high impact player, it's going to be a letdown, I think, and it's going to be kind of a mark on his start of his career.
I like that, Tom, and I would add to that. Peyton has made his bones in the scouting community. A guy that is so well respected. So many people in the scouting community didn't think he would accept the Denver job. He had other opportunities. It was kind of one of those things. Why did he choose Denver? And I think John Elway certainly deserves some credit in that, the ultimate salesman. And it makes you wonder, and I want to ask the question as this draft progresses. We just saw behind the scenes, no shortcuts, right? The Broncos videos, John Elway, some clips in there. How involved is John Elway if, in fact, the Broncos are trying to obtain one Aaron Rodgers?
You got to assume that he's a big part of that. But at the same time, I'm with you. Like Elway, the closer, right? But 2012, one of the reasons Peyton picked the Broncos and why Denver was so attractive was Elway made his pitch and then hung back. He didn't try and strong arm. He didn't try for the hard close. Peyton really appreciated that. But nevertheless, with Aaron Rodgers, I mean, their hands are a little bit tied in terms of contacting someone that's under contract and all that. But you got to assume, I would think, Zach, that Elway is seeing the opportunity for a swan song. Because, the last few years, post Super Bowl 50, not so good. He wants to end on a good note. His hope was to provide Denver with a future franchise guy before he rides off into the sunset, which is probably going to be next year, by this time next year. Aaron Rodgers would allow him to do that with a nice punctuation, a nice exclamation point there.
Yeah, but would that be an Elway move, though? I mean, how much impact would he have in making that move? Would it be a George Paton move because this is George Paton's team? He's the GM. And I wonder how much could he really provide the Broncos? I mean, Vic Fangio was in Chicago watching Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. George Paton was in Minnesota watching Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. Those are two sets of eyes that seen Aaron Rodgers way more up close and personal than John Elway has. So I'm sure if it came down to when Paton said, listen, is he worth moving on from Locke? Is it worth giving up this capital? Is it worth bringing Rodgers into this culture in Dove Valley? Those are questions that John Elway can answer. But in terms of whether Rodgers is a good quarterback or the technical aspects of that, I think Fangio and Paton have way more of an input on that.
I just wonder why you keep John Elway on the roster if not for moves like this, if not for trying to get these deals done. I don't understand why he's there in the bullpen. I get it's George Paton's team and he's certainly guiding the direction. I would just hope one John Elway would be involved. And speaking of involved, Michaela Parker has been very involved in the chat tonight, a very generous super, sacrificing a chicken to the football gods for Aaron Rodgers. Absolutely
feel
love
that.
it. Thank you, Michaela.
Just one?
Zach, that reminds me of our
Atwater story,
our interaction with Atwater at the Combine a couple of years ago. But I digress. All right, so the Lions pick Penei Sewell at number 7. Number 8, the Panthers are on the clock.
This is the Justin Fields pick. If he comes off the board here, Denver's got to trade back. If it's not Justin Fields here, then Denver has a really tough decision to make.
Well, remember what Lance kept saying. Justin or Mac Jones at 9, still a possibility.
No, it is. And everyone, I get that's tongue in cheek, but it really is. Mike Liss has been Lassie barking that, something I've been writing about at nauseum, not because I want Mac Jones here, but because I think there's some validity there. Now we're seeing teammates going with teammates, quarterback, wide receiver connection. Could you see a Jerry Jeudy, Mac Jones connection? That'd be a little odd, especially at the number 9 pick, but I agree with Nick. Don't discount the Carolina Panthers for a quarterback.
I don't know. I'm dead set on giving them Rashawn Slater right here. I think that he's their offensive tackle number 1. I think that's actually been reported in multiple different areas. I mean, Rashawn Slater here, the versatility to play in guard. He can play at center. He can play right or left side. The Panthers are looking for offensive tackle help. They just went and got Sam Darnold, and what did he not have in New York? I mean, he didn't have an offensive line. So now you've got Zach Wilson going over to the New York Jets, and they don't have an offensive line to protect him either. So why would you run that back with Sam Darnold in Carolina? You know what I mean? Like, to me, this makes more sense for them to either take Rashawn Slater here or potentially even move out for a team that's going to come up and look for a quarterback like a Washington or a Chicago, maybe even a Pittsburgh, if that's like the direction that they're looking at is going to get in quarterback. Like, I don't think quarterback here at 8 is going to be Carolina. Let me just say that.
Well, we're going to find out how much they love Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
True. Rogue
They don't love
Theory.
him enough to not extend his 5th-year option yet, right?
Yep.
And we got Rogue Theory.
Appreciate you, buddy Joshua. Go ahead, Luke. Grab him. And then also Carolina's only got 2 more minutes left on the clock.
Rogue Theory, we appreciate you guys. We appreciate everybody in the chat, too, trying to get to everyone as quickly as we can. Rogue Theory, thank you so much. Draft day, baby. Let's go. Hashtag the Huddle Up Squad. Absolutely.
Josh, you the
love
man.
it.
Love you, Josh.
Thank you guys so much for all of the support. Rashawn Slater, I'm looking at John. Was that John Bawanabe's favorite tackle, I think, right? On Twitter, I think he said liked Rashawn Slater quite a bit. Yeah, I know he liked Rashawn Slater a lot more than Penei Sewell. A really good prospect, Lance. I could see it. Sure. I could see Matt Roll wanting to go after that.
All right, real quick, I want to give some shout-outs in the chat. You know, at high impact times like this, a lot of scrutiny, a lot of anticipation, a lot of eyeballs. We want to try and be as democratic as possible, but of course the Super Chat superstars have to come first, and that includes YouTube and Facebook. But still, shouting out those of you that are keeping the convo going over on Twitch. Love you guys. Our Twitter audience, each and every one of you, we appreciate you. All right, so we got 54 seconds left till the Broncos are going to officially be on the clock. Man, I'm
scared.
Is this going to be Justin Fields at 8? And if it isn't Justin Fields at 8, what do the Broncos do? Is this going to be a log jam at quarterback with Drew Lock, Teddy Bridgewater, Justin Fields?
I mean, if Justin Fields is there at 9, I think that Justin Fields is the pick and Drew Lock is done in Denver, unfortunately for him. But at that point, I think that a parting of ways would be best for everybody involved. But it really depends on what happens here at 8. I mean, if a team moves up, I don't know if the pick's in or not.
The pick just came in.
It just came in.
I doubt it's Fields.
Yeah, I don't think it's a quarterback.
I think it could be Slater or a corner even. If Fields is there, I think it's Fields for Denver.
All right, it's going to be interesting here. We're getting close, Zach.
It's Horn. So the Broncos officially.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Chad, wasn't
Matt
that
Rule absolutely loved him?
wasn't that one of the mock players to Carolina? If I remember correctly, wasn't Horn in that spot, or was it Slater?
In the SI Publisher mock draft, I want to say it was Slater at 8 and Horn I took at 9.
That's right. Well, now the Broncos have their pick, guys. They can take Fields. They can take, God forbid, Mac Jones. They can take Micah Parsons. They can trade down. I think that would indicate, as Nick tweeted, which I agree with, if they trade down here with Fields on the board, that indicates they have another plan up their sleeve for later this offseason. But if they don't like Fields, guys, they can move down. This is the high leverage spot now. If a team like the Patriots or Chicago, Washington, whoever, if they love Fields and have to have him, I mean, this is where Peyton can really leverage them for more picks.
So if it's the Broncos are on the clock, the pick is in, right? I mean, if the pick is in, the Broncos are on the clock. Am I wrong?
They're on the clock, yes.
Yeah, they should be on the clock.
Mm-hmm. Okay, then I get to use our graphic. Okay, finally, I get to use this bad boy. Broncos, your Denver Broncos are on the clock. All right, and
let me just say, I'm taking my shoes off right now because I promised everybody that if the Broncos do manage to figure out a way to get Justin Fields, I would clap my feet for everyone.
I don't want to see your feet, dude.
No, shut all that down right now.
By the way,
that sounded very personal, Chad.
we got almost 1,000 people with us on YouTube. Guys, give us a like on YouTube, all right? Even if you're only with us for a minute. And even if you're disagreeing with some of our takes here, at least if you respect the effort, give us a like on YouTube. Give us that like. Hundreds already with us currently also on Facebook. It's great to have each and every one of you with us. That's a little organic thing you can do. Like the true litmus test, though, is if we're doing a good job for you, share this out there. Help us continue to grow. And we can still reach a lot of Broncos fans tonight that might be floating out there, not aware of what's cooking with this team and what's going on with Mile High Huddle. All right, guys, Justin Fields is on the table here. This is a real Sophie's choice. Is there any way in your mind, Carl, can you see the Denver Broncos passing on Justin Fields? I mean, he's fallen this far. Got to assume it's for a reason. I mean, I don't pretend to know what that reason might be, but your thoughts?
Me personally, I would not pass on him. He is such a good quarterback. I have him as my number 2 quarterback in this draft. I think he'd be a great fit with the system, even here with Shurmur, because he's highly accurate, and Shurmur's system is built on yards after catch. And you mix him with these kind of weapons, oh my gosh, it could be fireworks right off the bat. I'm shaking right now because this is my guy. This is what I've been dreaming of for the Broncos. And I love Rodgers. I do. But I've gone back and forth ever since we heard that the Rodgers thing could be a reality of whether I'd still want to go Fields or Rodgers, because you could get 15, 20 years out of Fields. And plus you get these 5 years of rookie contract where you can build an amazing team around this guy. I really hope they don't pass on him. I just would not like to play the chicken game with Green Bay. I don't want to take that chance. I've got my guy right here. Go get him.
A bird in hand is worth 2 in the bush. You already know that you got your guy. If you want him, go get him. He's there.
Man, it's cooking,
Trade
baby.
back.
It's cooking.
Trade back. Trade back.
John, do you have Marcus Duran, if you've got him by chance? If not, I'm going to scoot down and see if I can flash him while we got a little bit of a lull going here, waiting for the Denver Broncos to – nope, he's not in my – I don't see him on mine. If you can grab him, that would be really cool. We'll get to you, my friend. Don't worry.
Looks like right around 5 minutes to go with the Denver Broncos.
I got to say that if they have a chance to take Justin Fields, from what I'm hearing, he's a heck of a player. You trade back, you better get a massive haul, because you have a much higher probability of getting that impact taken now than trying to come back, trade back, and getting a couple extra picks, because it falls off the cliff once you get past the top 10. How fast your probability of getting an impact player is. If they trade back to get, I don't know, who would they be trading back for? Why would you pass up on what seems to be a pretty darn good quarterback talent when you have been terrible at the quarterback position for the last several years? I mean, Drew Lock, I just did an analysis based on era, and he was the 75th. He was number 75 in the top worst seasons in 2020 since 1960. That's how bad his season was. I like Drew Lock, but there's definitely been a void at that position. If they pass up on, and they must not like Fields if they pass up on him, is all I'm saying.
So could we do a quick rapid fire real quick? Yes or no to Justin Fields, Chad?
I'm passing on Justin Fields. Sorry, guys. I'm taking Micah Parsons right here. I'm taking Slater right here. I'm not taking a quarterback right here.
Love it.
And don't forget to mute if you're off mic, guys. Don't forget to mute. But yeah, that would be my pick. Zach, what's yours?
What I think the Broncos will do is take Fields. Do I want them to? I'm in agreement with you. I think I would move back and just pillage another team for draft capital and then use that capital to maybe come up in the first or second round. But when you have a quarterback fall into your lap, you don't have to give up any capital, any compensation. How do you not pull the trigger?
Eric, do you want Justin Fields?
Yeah, that's the way I would go. I mean, it's the best player on the board right now on my board anyways. You got to have that quarterback. You got to upgrade. You can't continue to roll with somebody who was the worst quarterback in the NFL last year. I get there are other circumstances behind it, but if it's not Fields, I'm trading down.
Quick shout out. I'm going to serve it back over to Lance. We got 2 minutes left here. Marcus Duran, appreciate you, buddy. He says, started listening a year ago, but rarely able to catch live. Love all the shows. Thanks to you all. I don't care what happens. Peyton has done a great job, and I'm excited for the season no matter what. Go Broncos. # state of being. Love it, Marcus. Really good to have you. And stick around, man. Try and, you might have a schedule that doesn't allow you to be with us in the evenings, but it's not hard to remember. You got a live Mile High Huddle podcast streaming literally 7 days a week from 6 Mountain to 7 Mountain, that hour block. So hope to see you more in the chats, my friend. Appreciate you. Lance, quickly, though, very quickly, I guess for you, it's Justin Fields. That'd be the dream, right? For you?
Yeah, Justin Fields is quarterback one to me. I don't care what anybody says. You can hate me for it, Trevor Lawrence and whatnot. No, Justin Fields is quarterback one. The processing, the arm strength, he's got a baseball arm. He's got high end athleticism. You can unlock some of that potential with him if you put him in the right scheme. Justin Fields is quarterback one, and as of right now, it's Justin Fields. Plain and simple. Yes.
Carl, we know your thoughts. Luke, how about you, bud?
I trade back trying to keep Aaron Rodgers alive. I try to get that haul that Zach was talking about. Chad, I'm with you. I love Micah Parsons. Absolutely love him. So much that Nick and I scream at each other over it on Saturday nights on MHI. So no, it's a no for me. How about you, Nick? Would you take Justin Fields here?
Yeah, 100%. Drew Lock's been a bottom 3 quarterback, bottom 5 quarterback. He was a second-round pick. You still don't know what you have with only 2 years left of control. He's been injured 2 years in a row. He's got the worst completion percentage over expected of any quarterback in the NFL. He's been bottom 2 in turnover per play. I mean, you can't roll into next season with him and expect to be anything more than a 500 team. You have a great quarterback prospect fell into your lap. If the epilepsy scares you, that's another thing. I am a scientist, but I'm not a neurologist, so I'm not going to speak to that. I mean, rolling into next season with Drew Lock, I would put money down right now that if it was Drew Lock versus Teddy Bridgewater and there's not injuries, Bridgewater's winning. I think that's probably where I'm going to lean. I have zero faith in Drew Lock. And I think if you're going to take a swing, every single pick is a risk. If you're going to risk, go big, go for the quarterback.
The pick is in.
They didn't trade.
Trevor, do you anticipate him taking Justin Fields here, bud?
I do not. I think Slater's the pick. I have not sensed that they've been on Justin Fields this whole pre-draft process. So it's going to be a move that, if it is not Fields, is going to define George Paton, though, because that is what we'll be looking back at for years to come.
Ooh. Man,
here we go, Broncos country. Here we go, Carl.
Don't you dare tip it. Don't you dare tip it, Zach.
Promise you I won't. I'll react with my face only. I won't say anything.
Man.
I'm going to have to walk out of Mac Jones.
If it's
Mac Jones at Panda.
Oh, my God. Oh.
Is it going to be Parsons?
Kliss just tweeted it. All I'm going to say is, oh, my God. It's not a quarterback.
Okay.
It's Slater. They went Slater.
Nope.
Patrick Surtain the second, dude. Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
Luke spoiled it. Patrick, we're going to have some pissed off Broncos fans. Interesting.
All right. I had Patrick Surtain the second as my number 1 rated corner very, very early. That being said, I am disappointed with this pick. It's a quarterback desperate league, boys. Justin Fields wasn't my favorite, but Justin Fields or Patrick Surtain the second, I probably would have went Justin Fields.
Wow. Guys, what is that on field? Is it the epilepsy? Because, Nick, maybe explain this. I don't think a lot of the listeners know what we're talking about when we say epilepsy and Justin Fields, because that was a relatively recent development on, that coming out publicly.
Yeah, I mean, it's a concern for him, the seizures he's had, so we will see what happens there. But it is Patrick Surtain. There's also been some talk about Justin Fields questioning coachability. There's questions about his, not character is the wrong word, but just his personality. So maybe kind of being a little bit of a prima donna. Granted, that's true with quarterbacks, a lot of quarterbacks in general. But the Broncos take probably if not the safest player in the draft, one of the safest player in the draft in Patrick Surtain. I'm not sure exactly about the scheme fit per se, but I mean, he's going to tackle, he's going to cover space, he's long, he's very smart. So the Broncos continue to address the cornerback position. I wrote a piece very early on in the offseason how the Vikings have prioritized the cornerback position underneath Spielman and during Peyton's tenure in Minnesota. Well, here we are. Patrick Surtain, the Broncos go heavy, hard, and deep at the cornerback position, and we'll see what happens.
Real quick here, guys. Zach, either you or myself, we need to hop on off. I know you got other business too.
I got the Cowboys coming up, yeah.
So, guys, we're gonna dip out for a minute. We'll be back on here shortly, but guys, here's what I'm gonna say. All right, there's the implications to this are twofold to me. You got to pick a path. The implication is either, again, the Broncos have been a lot higher on Drew than anyone ever really could have anticipated, or they're trying to keep the dream alive for Aaron Rodgers. But as we've inched farther into the first round, the whole Rodgers thing feels like it's starting to become a more dim prospect. But Implications on Drew. I know our fans want to hear that right now. What does this mean about how the Broncos view Drew or even Teddy Bridgewater? And I'll see you guys in about 15. Don't forget Super Chats. Nick, you got the gavel.
So I don't necessarily like this pick for the Broncos, but I don't necessarily know if it's a pick for the Broncos. I'm going to throw some conspiracy theory out there. I mean, the Packers were wanting to come up. They wanted to get a cornerback. Like, is this a pick that the Broncos are going to use to parlay to go get Aaron Rodgers? Like, is that something that could potentially be happening here?
I'm doubtful, given, I mean, we haven't seen that very often, but right, like the way the now they're showing Peyton, everybody fist bumping. I mean, they love their cornerbacks, right? Welcome to the Denver Broncos under George Payton, a cornerback in the first round every other year, if they're going to follow the Vikings trends. But I think that's probably a little bit of a reach there. We'll see.
Yeah, especially with Jair Anderson on the roster already. They don't really have a need for, not a strong need for Patrick Surtain. I mean, everybody can use Patrick Surtain. I mean, but it just doesn't really line up with what the Packers need, I don't think. But hey, and you never know. There's been crazier things, right?
Yeah, for sure. And this is a pick for me. It's about Patrick, not Patrick Surtain, though. Patrick Mahomes. The Broncos in this AFC West, it is an arms race. And we saw last year when the Broncos got down to their 7th, 8th, and 9th cornerback on the depth chart. That's not even an exaggeration. This team fell apart. So the Broncos went with a priority position with a player who has a lot of SEC tape against really good wide receivers, multiple years of good tape, and one of the most important positions on the football field in a passing league. So it's not the direction I would have gone, but and they're showing Mac Jones now looking a little sad there. I mean, where will Mac Jones be picked? Where will Justin Fields be picked? We'll see. But I get it. It's not the direction I would have gone, but here we are. At least it wasn't a linebacker.
It felt like
and with Patrick Surtain, like, I like the player. My question is, they did zone quite a bit at Alabama, but it was out of press. I wonder how he's going to play off. I don't like the hip fluidity as well to play off. It's going to be something to watch for that. But yeah, this is definitely a pick for Denver. I don't think he's going to be moved to Green Bay. And one thing that can be sure is that he tackles, and he tackles well, and Vic Fangio loves that.
I think it was a bit early. I think it's important that they do get a cornerback in this draft because they've got one on the roster really after this season. So they're looking to the future. I get it. But a lot of times you can get a cornerback a little bit later. There's a few left. I don't know. I'm kind of iffy on this pick just based on what position it was taken. So.
It just doesn't necessarily make sense to me, and it doesn't make sense to Samaki Hill here coming in on Super Chat with a $2 donation. I'm just mad that we didn't take Fields. Like, why? I don't understand it either, man. It's frustrating to me because Eric and I are in lockstep on this one. And I don't think that Patrick Surtain is a scheme fit. Now, I have always maintained that I love the player, I love his ability, I love him in press man and whatnot, his tackling ability as well, but. At the same time, man, it doesn't seem to fit right. Now, if Vic Fangio is the one that's signing off on this, then I guess that I'm all right with it. But, man, you had an opportunity to go get one of the top quarterbacks in this class, and instead you go get a guy that I don't know, man. I'm pretty disappointed. I will say that.
Yeah, if we're talking about scheme fit, though, I would also argue, does Vic Fangio fit as a head coach for the Denver Broncos? This is a positional pick for George Payton, where he obviously envisions Patrick Surtain II to be here for a very long time. Can we say the same about Vic Fangio? Maybe if Aaron Rodgers was here right now, that buys him some time. We don't know if that's going to shake out. The conspiracy theory thing, Lance, the tinfoil hat, I might entertain that a little bit. It's kind of like one of those basketball trades, right? Where the NBA lottery, one team picks a player and then ultimately trades him before he even gets that suit on. Maybe. It's interesting. I had Patrick Surtain as my number one corner. I do like J.C. Horn a lot. Never been high on Caleb Farley. A lot of those medical concerns, but Patrick Surtain II, it shows you that George Payton is definitely trying to bolster that secondary with that 1-year rental and Kyle Fuller.
And it does look like the Eagles just traded up with the Cowboys, maybe?
Yeah,
with the Cowboys.
Yep.
They want a quarterback.
They sent the 12th overall pick and third round pick, I think 84, to get to number 10. So if they take a quarterback here, it'll be very interesting.
It'd be a Philly move, right, fellas? I mean, Philly, what a mess.
Can't count anything out with the Eagles.
Did they play rock, paper, scissors with Justin Fields?
It just doesn't make sense why you would trade up within the division, or as the Cowboys, why you would trade back. Well, I guess I could see that because both the top cornerbacks are gone. Maybe they're looking offensive linemen. They could have taken Rashawn Slater here to add to that. I mean, this is actually, you know what? Now we're getting into the really true reaction. I mean, we had all the Aaron Rodgers talk, the Justin Fields talk, but now that we know the Broncos pick, this is actually kind of a very interesting move to me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious how to see what this means for the position, right? That George Paton just recently said that the Broncos were, for the 9th overall pick, they're looking for a day one starter. But this cornerback room, as it stands right now, Surtain is probably not a day one starter. Are you going to displace Kyle Fuller? Are you going to displace Ronald Darby? Surtain, you're probably not playing him in the slot over Bryce Callahan. I know he played star his freshman year for Alabama, but do you have any thoughts here, Trevor? Let's get you in here with that. Draft cherry.
I think one thing that we have to take into consideration is, the injury history with Kyle Fuller and with Ronald Darby and with Bryce Callahan. I mean, we got 3 guys that are all projected to start that all have significant injury histories and have concerns going into the season. So this is a future pick. Thomas touched on it earlier. Ronald Darby is really the only cornerback that's going to be on, Michael Ojemudia are the only corners under contract beyond this season. This is a future pick. There's no question about that. So I know that's not the pick that a lot of people wanted, but I think in the end, we'll probably look back one day and we'll think, well, we're glad we took Patrick Surtain, because personally, I thought he was the best defensive player in this draft. And to get him, I know if Justin Fields was not on the board at 9, I think we'd probably be having a little bit of a different conversation right now. I think that's just really obviously hard to block out, because I think that's what a lot of Broncos fans were hoping for. But I think in the end, I think we're going to look back and we'll be happy that we have Patrick Surtain on the roster.
I would agree with the issue. I'd say the issue, though, is he could become a great player, but if Fields becomes a great quarterback, it doesn't matter.
Yep.
It's a bad pick.
I agree.
And it's same with, it's kind of the same argument with Bradley Chubb and Josh Allen.
Yep.
He's a great player, but right now you'd definitely rather have Josh Allen than Bradley Chubb. And so I think that's the hard part. You're right. If Justin Fields is off the board and it's Patrick Surtain the pick, it's like, oh yeah, I guess I understand that. But when you have a guy that could become a top 5 quarterback and you need a quarterback, man, this one hurts. This one hurts a lot.
Eric, what do you think?
We have to keep in mind, too, fellas, look, the only quarterback that everyone's saying is not going to have success is Mac Jones. The reality of the situation is not all 4 or even 5 quarterbacks that could be taken in the first round are going to be the next Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen. I mean, we talk about risk, sure, but I would say that the odds are actually really against every single one of those quarterbacks, Justin Fields, Trey Lance, Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, that they're all going to work out. We just don't know that. Clearly, George Paton is showing that he values defense a lot.
Yeah. Eric, I want your thoughts on this, please.
So there a few things real quick is with Justin Fields, there was a study done about epilepsy in higher altitudes. And that probably is actually the big concern that Denver had playing at the higher altitude with the epilepsy. And then with Denver taking Surtain and not trading down, I guess the big thing here is Dallas was going to take him. They couldn't trade down. That shows how much that Denver valued him and just over a trade down and everything. And I think that speaks as well to how they view Rodgers. I don't think that Rodgers is as much in play, because if he was, they would have traded down. They would have accumulated more picks, and especially future picks, and use those to go get him. And then with Surtain is, we know that George Paton values them. We know Vic Fangio values them. And after seeing what we saw last year with all the injuries, with Ronald Darby only having 1 full season played, Kyle Fuller only 1 season on their contract, Bryce Callahan never playing a full season, like, it makes a lot of sense. Like, you can't hate on the pick too much, because Surtain is a good player. He has a really good upside to be the best corner out of this class. My big concern is, as I said earlier, is just the fit in the scheme. And as Luke mentioned, maybe Vic Fangio is done. Like, that's a big thing here. And so that's a lot of things in play. I don't like the pick. I'm not a big fan of it, but it's not terrible.
Yeah. And just a little background on Patrick Surtain for those who are just joining us. He is the SEC Defensive Player of the Year. looks like he is also the defensive MVP of the 2021 Rose Bowl, the son of Patrick Surtain, the senior, of course, who Broncos country should be very familiar with his dad playing a couple years with the Chiefs and obviously a lot with the Dolphins where he was drafted. But a physical corner, that's something that everybody seems to recognize with Patrick Surtain II. We know that tackling is something that Vic Fangio will not compromise on. I just think this speaks to the lack of faith in Bryce Callahan a little bit. I'm not saying he's going to be the slot, but when you've never completed a full NFL season, bless his heart, because he was playing at an incredible level, shocking the world last year before he got hurt. It's just such a concern if you cannot be available in the NFL.
And I just have one question for you, Luke, with all the studying you did on Surtain. How worried are you? Because I noticed that he tended to get grabby a lot, especially when he was playing off. Didn't lead to a lot of penalties, but he still has that. Are you concerned about that becoming penalties in the NFL?
I am. Yeah, that's a really good question, Eric. I am concerned about that because, as you know, it's a quarterback-driven league, offense and everything like that. He's a very physical corner. He likes to get up and receiver stuff, but I guess I would rather go that route than just have a guy get burned like Isaac Yiadom all day and not trying to compare Patrick Surtain. But yeah, you're right. I mean, and I've read your draft articles as well. He has problems on the deep ball, something that Nick has brought to my attention as well. And when you're playing Tyreek Hill and you're playing these heavy hitters in the AFC West, that's definitely something to be concerned about. The interesting thing that Nick said, or I think someone else reiterated, George Payton said he wanted a day one starter with Patrick Surtain II. Yeah, man, that's going to be tough. I don't think you have to rush Patrick Surtain in right away, but he needs to play, and he needs to play sooner rather than later.
And we have a trade actually apparently coming down the tracks here. The Bears are trading up with the 11th pick with the New York Giants, and now the Bears are on the clock, obviously coming up for a quarterback. This might be Justin Fields right here, heading up to the Chicago Bears, a team that's been, God, you guys think the Broncos have been bad with quarterback play the last 5 years. Imagine being a Chicago Bears fan dating back to when they were wearing leather helmets the last time they had a good quarterback. So probably the Bears coming up here. I would guess Justin Fields, but I've been shocked before. You're not making this move, though. I would be even more shocked if it wasn't for a quarterback.
Yeah, it's got to be Justin Fields or Mac Jones here. Brandon Harden jumping in here on Super Chat. We're going to grab some of these Super Chats really fast, guys. Bama Broncos. Y'all can say Bama Broncos, Yeah, I mean, and obviously Patrick Surtain at Alabama. I'm just so disappointed. So disappointed here. Let's see if I can find another one. John, you got some ready to pull up? Wardy jumping in here with the $5 super. I wonder if we're including Surtain in the deal to get Aaron Rodgers. This pick makes absolutely no sense to me. I'm with you there. Eric, go ahead.
I just want to say, how funny is it that a year ago before the draft, it was all Elway doesn't draft Bama players. And I know it's not Elway in charge anymore. Back-to-back first-round picks going to Alabama.